Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report. The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. I do apologize about that. I had a technical difficulty. Apologize about that. Looks like we got it together now. My apologies. All right, y'all. So hit that like button. All right, y'all, my apologies about that, but we're going to get into it regardless. We ain't going to let nothing stop us. So, moving right along, y'all, we got an interesting show for you today. We're going to be dealing with the Great Virgin Boycott. Sorry about that, but we're going to be dealing with the Great Virgin Boycott. All right? Now, let me give us some shout-outs to some of the first people. Well, there's always people who give me views on a regular basis. Shout out to each and every one of y'all, because y'all are the fam. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to the people who leave comments after the stream. Y'all help that algorithm grow. Shout out to everybody who hype me up every chance they get. Appreciate it big time. And shout out to people who hit that like button. Y'all are helping the channel grow, and I appreciate that. Salute to everybody who gives a little bit of something on the stream, y'all. So shout out to everybody who becomes a financial contributor at the Roger Report Live. I appreciate each and every one of y'all, because y'all allow me to do things that I just wouldn't be able to do without you. Okay. And of course, I can put on a better product for you because of that as well. And I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. So shout out to each and everyone who's done so, but I'm going to give a special shout out to a special lady, the darling of this particular channel. Trust is the sponsor of today's stream. I appreciate her so much. So shout out to Trust. the sponsor of today's stream. And shout out to some of the first people who to check in this morning. It's always great when you start the show to see a few people checking in as we get started. But y'all know how it go around here. There can only be one. So shout out to, once again, the Highlander of today's stream. My main man, Trail Bentley, is in the house representing as he does. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. Hashtag Hail Hydra. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Always good to see you. Good to see you. Shout out to the pit master himself is in the building, coming right behind him. Shout out to the one, the only Chef Mike's Round Table is in the building. Shout out to you, my brother, and the pit crew. So shout out to Mr. Suge, to you. Shout out to J Dub. Always great to have y'all here. Always great to have y'all here. We got my main man, Elder Blood, in the building. What's good? What's good? Tunnel Runner is in the house as well. Glad to see you. Glad to see you, y'all. And we gonna get right into it, y'all. The Great Virgin Boycott, y'all. We got two major things going on at the same time, y'all, but we definitely got to talk a little something about this. So this should be an interesting, very interesting show, y'all. Very interesting show. Y'all, the Great Virgin Boycott. Something I believe is just going to have to happen. Some men going to have to suck it up. And we're going to have to tell our youngsters, they're going to have to suck it up too. All right? Because as y'all know, a lot of sisters is out here trying to give young black women, and I'm going to even say girls. Yes, I'm going to say girls. They're even trying to give the girls to give up their virginity way quicker than they should. Okay? Way quicker than they should. Now, from a religious perspective, I'm going to say, you know you ain't supposed to be having sex until you get married. And I know everybody ain't going to be down with no religious perspective. But even if you're not down with a religious perspective, can't we agree? Is it not too much to agree that sex should be held off until you at least become an adult? I mean, there's a lot of things that go along with having sex. Okay? And for unfortunate people, there's a lot of extra things that go along with having sex. Because you could pick up an STD. That's a sexually transmitted disease for somebody who wouldn't know. That's what that stands for. An STD, a sexually transmitted disease. That means you go have some sex with somebody, and while you in there trying to have a good old time, getting it on, you know what I'm saying, making it messy, making it sloppy, however you doing it. But when you leave, you come to find out you done pick something up. You got a whole different package that you ain't planning on having. And now you walking away with a little something extra following you home. And some of these things can be getting, you can get rid of them, some of them. But then you got the kind that stay with you. And no matter what you do, ain't no getting rid of it. Ain't no getting rid of it. So, even if you're not going to look at it from a religious perspective, but I ain't trying to force nobody to look at this from a religious perspective. But as human beings, man, shouldn't we at least be teaching to hold off on this stuff? At least until you're an adult? At least till you're 18 and over? Really it should be when you're grown. When you grown, meaning not just an adult, but you're on your own. You're out in the world and on your own. Okay? Now, I'm going to say a smart black woman nowadays, being grown is when she gets married and then she goes right from her parents' house to her husband's house. When she gets to her husband's house, now she's grown. Yeah, because grown means growth has occurred. We all can be classified as adults if we're 18 and over. But to be grown means growth has occurred. And there's nothing wrong for waiting to be grown until you get into your husband's house. It's that simple at the end of the day. But we got a lot of women who push that virginity is something you couldn't keep, or you shouldn't keep. I'm gonna say that you can keep it, but they push it something that young ladies should not keep. They should get rid of their virginity. Now, we start having a discussion about this on one particular day, but I said, hold on, man, we got to hold off on this one because it deserves its own show. It deserves its own show. So men, and we would have to teach this to boys too, because y'all know young men, the hormones gonna get to jumping. Okay, they're gonna be teenagers, and by the time they hit their teenage years, them hormones start to get that jump thing going. All right, it's hard to find a 13-year-old boy, and his hormones ain't starting to kick in. Okay, so we got to be realistic about that. So for boys and men, in order to get stuff back in order, we gonna have to have the Great Virgin Boycott. Now, does that mean we're saying virgins are bad? Oh, absolutely not. Of course, we're not saying virgins are bad. Virgins are going to carry a value with them that other women just don't have. Because once you give up that virginity, man, it's over. You can't get it back. And I know that can hurt some woman's feelings that she has to accept that she cannot get her virginity back. You know, it shouldn't be the end of the world. But yeah, it's definitely, you're definitely taking a huge hit when it comes to your value to men. Now, everybody can measure what they want to value themselves at. That's always true. But for women, because they don't want to take care of themselves, how a man values them should be of utmost importance to them. Okay? Outside of God, your husband should be what you're looking at as far as how much value you putting in the world. And at the end of the day, I'm not saying a woman can't get married if she's not a virgin, but let's keep it real. If you hold your virginity until you get married, you know, you usually can find a better husband. That's just the way the game goes. Now, the thing is, we as men, what we gonna do about it? Because we can't make women have sex. We can't make women not have sex. That's just a reality. We can try what we can to influence them, especially women who are close to you. So if you have daughters yourself, of course, you know, you can encourage virginity. That's a normal thing for a parent to do to their girl. You know, you encourage virginity. Now, there are some women who are dumb enough. Yeah, I'm going to say dumb enough because stupidity is a choice. There are some women who are dumb enough to argue they shouldn't be virgins because there's no pressure for boys to be virgins. Well, this is the thing. A boy is never a virgin in the first place. Virginity is something girls have. There's men who have not had sex yet. There can be a boy who hasn't had sex yet. But a boy is not a virgin. A boy has never had a hymen. Women grow up as little girls. You know, they have hymens. And when you break your hymen, that's a pretty good sign that that was a virgin. Okay, that's how the thing goes. Now, there's some very, 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 minuscule chances that a woman's gonna break a hymen before she has sex. And I know that exists for any woman who tries to, come up with that claim as if it's supposed to mean something. Yeah, but it's very rare that that's gonna happen. Usually, if you break a woman's hymen, you are the first person to have sex with her, which means previous to you, she was a virgin. Now, we should act like this is a good thing because it is a good thing. I know there's going to be some people who are going to try to act like being a virgin is bad. But see, even if you don't look at it from a religious perspective, how on earth could it be bad to be a virgin? Where do you lose? When you're a woman, where do you lose at being a virgin? The only time you really going to lose at being a virgin, you literally got to go all the way to the point of getting married and not having sex with your husband. If some women were to actually do all that, which sounds just about crazy, but if there was a woman who would actually take it that far, okay, now her virginity would cause her a problem, but not until. But at that point, she's married. She's been able to select a good man. She's been able to, get a good start in the world at being a grown woman. She's, not saying she just became an adult, but she would have a good start in the world of being a grown woman because she would be married and her husband would be there to look out for her. So there's literally no bad thing that a woman's pretty much going to come across if she holds on to her virginity. Now, the thing is, why is this not being taught? Well, of course, you got a lot of single mother homes. All right. And let's be realistic about it. You get a bunch of single mother homes. What will probably happen? You will have a lot of women who are going to push the idea that their daughter should go out and have sex. Now, my thing is, we got to look at things from a realistic standpoint. Because, see, people always try to make it sound like guys are making women have sex or trying to pressure them into have sex. It's possible you have an individual guy. He may have a girlfriend and he really want to have sex with his girlfriend, but she may be a virgin. That's a very possible thing. Not going to say something like that wouldn't exist. That's a possible thing. But let's be realistic. Who wants girls to have sex? Or who wants young women to have sex? If they made it to 18 years old and still ain't had sex yet, who's going to continue to push the ideal on them that they should have sex? Let's be realistic about it. Women, we pretend as men because a lot of folks won't come out and set the record straight. So we pretend that it's men. But realistically, who's always on a regular basis trying to get some young lady to have sex? It's women. Crazy part is it come from their own mama a lot of the time. Now, if you think about this and say, you know what, you're right. It is a bunch of women trying to get girls to have sex. And you start thinking about, their friends trying to convince them to have sex. A lot of it comes from their own mama. Yeah. It's not a radical thing when you think about it, that the more young ladies who come out of a single mother home are going to have sex early in life because their mamas encourage it. Now, y'all, I know we mostly men over here, but let's be realistic about this thing. Think about it. You got a girl, she's growing up. She lives in a single mother home. She don't have to answer to anybody but her mama. Okay, at least for the most part. She don't pretty much answer to anybody but her mama. Now, what mama gonna make her answer for having sex? Number one, she's a single mother herself. So why would she care that her daughter's having sex? Let's think about this. Y'all. She done had sex. That's why she's a single mother. What single mother is going to tell their daughter not to have sex? That's exactly how her daughter got here in the first place. Okay, that's exactly how her daughter got there in the first. And we have to be realistic, y'all. Women naturally manipulate things in the world so they can try to get things they want without them working for it. That I'm not saying that as a diss to women. I'm saying that because it's the reality of women. Women do not go out in the world trying to use might so they can get the stuff they want. They try to manipulate people to give them what they want because they don't want to have wars with men. They don't want to have battles with men. They don't even want to fight men. So their natural way about the world is to manipulate men to giving them the things that they want. Now, I am not even saying that this is a bad thing because you can positively, influence somebody. You can positively influence somebody to give you the things you want. Now, for women, and I'm sure a lot of y'all have noticed, a lot of women are just not accountable. A lot of them have an issue with trying to be an influence on a man because they don't want to be held accountable to a man. But a woman can go out in the world, never work a day in her life, not outside the home anyway, and be taken care of and be just fine. Why? Because she can get a husband to do it. Now, that's not bad. Okay, we can't pretend like that's a bad thing. It's just something they have the ability to do, you know? And generally, as men, we accept this. Okay, a woman can go out into the world, she can get a lot of stuff that she wants, and all she got to do is be cool, be sweet, be caring. Guys gonna flock to her. She can pick out a good husband, and she'll be just fine. But that's exactly why some of their mamas don't want them to be virgins. Their mama's gonna tell them go out and have sex. That's what you do. Look, you old enough to get out here and get it, girl. This is something mamas actually tell their daughters. Look, as long as you got what you sit on, you should have some money. Okay? You should have some money. You should use your vagina to make money. Now, a lot of women won't come out and say it that straightforward, but that's what they tell their daughters. You should go out into the world, use your vagina to make money. Now, do they say hold on to your virginity so you can get a husband to be taken care of? Of course not. Not generally, they don't. Not in America. They may be pushing this in some other part of the world. But in America, no, this is not being pushed. And shout out to all my people who listen outside of America. Love you and appreciate y'all too. Don't ever think I don't. Okay? But in America, ain't nobody trying to tell these young ladies, for the most part, keep your virginity so you can use it to get a better husband. No, they mamas is telling them to go out there and sell your vagina so you can get some money. So one of the most valuable things they have, and I see you backstage, I'll bring you up in a minute. One of the most valuable things they have, where it's supposed to be valuable, but unfortunately they treat it in a way where it doesn't become valuable. They mamas is trying to push them to sell it off short. Because see, back in the day, you used to hold on to your virginity and get a husband. Sometimes a husband already got a house. Okay. Now he may have an apartment, but back in the day, sometimes he already have a house, already have a job, already being responsible, already off on his own, doing his thing, trying to make stuff happen for his wife and any children he may have in the future. That was a regular thing. Nowadays, you got mothers telling their daughters, you need to go out there and sell your little cooch, okay? You want some new shoes, go out there and sell your little cooch. You can get some new shoes. You want a new dress, go out there and sell your little cooch and you can get a new dress. Go get up in somebody's face, wave your behind around, and when you think he got enough money to do what you need done, you give him a little something, and he'll get it for you. Now, women don't just come out and say, look, I'm trying to pimp my own daughter. But if you look at what's going on with them, if you accuse them of pimping their daughter, are you actually going to be wrong? Because a lot of women want some guy to do it so they won't have to. See, I did do some thinking about the fact that how come there's so many sisters who cool with their daughters having sex with grown men that they ain't supposed to have? And I'm talking about the ones who got underage girls. Why are they so good with black men? What they're teaching their daughters is go seek out a black man with less morals who will have sex with you before you're an adult so you can get a bunch of stuff out of him. Why do they teach their daughters that? And a lot of us, we're afraid to look at these facts and, be realistic about what's going on. Because let's keep it real, y'all. It's always it's a small population of people that's going to just go over the line all kinds of times. Not no once or twice, but on a regular basis. So yeah, there's a guy out there who will pull up on a young lady who he got no business talking to because he about 25 and she about 15. It's gonna happen. It ain't a lot of them. They don't exist that much, but they're going to be there. So why are women pushing their daughters to mess with those kind of men? Well, as a mother, that means she don't have to buy stuff. I'm gonna get my daughter to go out there, use her little cooch, and he can buy her new clothes. He can buy her a new phone. He can take care of her so I don't have to. And guess what? I don't mind, because if I ever get caught pimping my daughter out to some dude that's too old for her, we just gonna blame the dude. He'll go to jail, and then we'll just do it again with somebody else. It almost sounds like a comic book caper that a mastermind criminal came up with. It almost sounds like that. Almost. Shout out to Jerome Payne. Appreciate the super chat, my brother. And thank you for helping me get off to the good start. He says, this is what happened when the West, hold on. This is what women in the West do with all these freedoms. Shaking my head. Well, unfortunately, there's a large chunk of women who are going to use their freedoms to get out of accountability. You see, you have a daughter that you don't want to pay for because you don't want to be accountable for your daughter. So what do? You get somebody else to pay for it. How do you get somebody else to pay for it? You get out there. You know, you push her into finding people to have sex with, so he will pay for her and she won't have to. Okay? And this is a regular thing that goes on that you don't ever really see it be addressed in mainstream media, if ever. I can't even think of a time that I've ever seen it addressed in mainstream media. You know, I can't even think of one time it's been addressed in mainstream media. Now, and the only reason I'm giving mainstream media a slight break is because I know I ain't seen everything in mainstream media. Shout out to Black Hulu Strikes. He said, nobody wants an angel to fall quicker and harder than the previous fallen angel. Mama, I gave up my glory. Damn it, you better give up yours too. And y'all, this is a sentiment that is very, very heavy in Black America. It's very, very heavy. Okay. Now, I had a gentleman backstage. You can come on back, and I'll bring you up. You can come on back. I like to get a decent little monologue off, but you can come on back. Now, and I like to establish what's going on. So now this is the thing, y'all. We had a slight discussion about this before, but I said it needs its own show. So the only way we as men can help, is to refuse to have sex with virgins that we're not married to. What I want guys to not do, because I just don't agree with it. Now, if y'all think we should, you come say what you want to say, give your expression on it. See, I don't want to pretend that women having sex is men's fault. It's hard for us, especially Black men, to hold women accountable. They go out and they have sex because that's what they want to do. And a lot of times they want to go out and have sex because their mama told them this is how you get over in life. Instead of you holding on to your virginity, being a good girl, and put me in a position where I gotta actually pay for you, and now you're becoming a teenager and stuff is getting more expensive. See, I don't want to pay for you. So what I need you to do is go out there and mess with some guy who already has some regular full-time job, or even beyond that, because I want him to pay for you because I don't want to pay for you. I told y'all time and time again, women worry about their image more than anything. So they don't want to tell their daughters, I don't want to pay for you. Look, you 13, you're 14, you're 15. I want to pay for you. Okay, I just don't. Yeah, the system give me this. Yeah, the system give me that. But there's other little incidental fees that come up, and I don't want to pay those either. You know? Now, y'all, it's just not women on the system, but it does include women on the system, because there's women who don't want to pay for where their daughters live. There's women who don't want to pay for their daughters' clothes. Now, I'm not saying they want to pay for their sons either. I'm just a little bit more focused on the girls because of what today's episode is. They don't want to pay for their daughters to eat. They do not want to pay for their daughters to participate in certain things in school. Now, be realistic about this, y'all. You have a woman with no husband. She wants her daughter to do stuff so she don't bother her, but she don't want to pay for those things. So what is the natural thing to do if you're a woman in that position? You don't have a husband because you don't want to answer to a man. You got a daughter that got some age on her. So now she's 13, 14, 15. You don't want to pay for no school fees. You don't want to buy no new outfit every time she goes out with her friends. What do? You tell your daughter to go out there and start having sex with men, especially the ones you got no business talking to. See, it'd be one thing if they just said go have sex with some boys at school. They don't even really tell them that because let's be realistic. If she goes and have sex with some boy at school, what kind of job is he gonna have if he has a job? Now maybe she talks to a junior or a senior, which girls could do that. They freshman year, they talk to juniors and seniors. But what job he gonna have? More than likely, he got some type of fast food job. Okay? I ain't saying nothing bad about the guy. It's just that he working at Burger King. Okay? He getting hot minimum wage, whatever that is. You know, he might be serving up some hot burgers and they gonna serve him a hot check of whatever minimum wage happens to be. Okay? Whatever minimum wage happens to be, that's what he about to get. So the mothers tell their daughters to be greedy, try to get everything. So what they gonna do? They gonna go to a guy who make a minimum wage and get a bunch of stuff. See, it's hard for a brother with a minimum wage job, still in high school. See, it's hard for him to buy his girlfriend a brand new phone. It's hard. Okay? You know, take a little bit of work for you to buy your girlfriend a brand new phone and you got a minimum wage job. And that's just a very real thing. So mama don't want to pay for her brand new phone. So what is mama gonna do? See, your problem is you talking to these young busters. You talking to these busters with these minimum wage jobs. You need to talk to somebody with some money. Now, she may not directly say talk to somebody who older, but she gonna give her all the message she need to do that she need to get to come over to the conclusion. I gotta talk to a grown man that I ain't got no business talking to. Why you messing with little boys that can't buy you nothing? All kind of mamas say stuff like that. Why you messing with little boys that can't buy you nothing? See, I know there's women on social media even today who just get out there and they quote unquote say rage bait. They trying to just say some stuff to get guys upset. But everybody ain't doing no rage bait. Some of these women coming out here and just telling their actual perspective because of how they were raised. And they haven't decided that something's better yet. You see a young woman who's 21, 22, 23, it ain't just rage bait for her. She's saying, you know, a man need to have this, man need to have that. He needs to be able to give me this, he needs to be able to give me that. And some of y'all would think that's just rage bait. No, that's how she really actually feel. Why? Because her mama been telling her, why you talking to little boys that can't get you nothing? You know? Now, as men, you may not like the fact that this is the type of stuff that's being said behind our back, but I'm telling y'all, this is a very real thing. Why are you talking to little boys that can't buy you nothing? So what is her mama implying to her? You need to talk to an adult man who's already has something going on for himself, who already has a full-time job. Now, mama don't care what the job is, as long as it's a full-time job where he got money to trick off on her. That's all mama care about. See, mama just got to get her to 18. See, that's part of the secret that ain't nobody really telling. Mama just got to get her to 18. I'm not saying every mama gonna throw their daughters out at 18, but mama know I just got to get her to 18. And if I can get her to 18, I'm good. So I need some dude out there to kind of, you know, take on some payments. And guess what happens, y'all? This is one of the reasons that a lot of y'all be like, okay, there's so many single mothers out here. I'm telling you, this is one of the reasons why you have a lot of single mothers. See, mama gonna get her to go find some dude she ain't supposed to be messing with so she can get money out of him. Now, when her daughter actually becomes 18 years old, Now she's going to encourage her daughter to get pregnant. Now, this is something else that I don't see nobody talking about on mainstream media. She's going to encourage her daughter to get pregnant. And I know a lot of people say, oh, that's crazy, Roger. Why would a mother do something like that? Because mothers want to tell their daughters how to get onto the system. This is how I got Section 8. Why would some woman tell her daughter how to get on Section 8 so she can get her out of her house? She don't want to take care of no more. And that's just what's going on. Okay? That's what's going on. You go get you a baby. Okay? You go get pregnant. You know, now you can get on the system and you can get your own apartment. That's what you can do. Get your own apartment. Now, a lot of times people try to act like it's only people who are under the poverty line that do stuff like this. No, this goes on with Black American women in all type of socioeconomic areas. When you have a Black woman who is a single mother, you can just about bet your life on the fact that she's trying to push her daughter into getting stuff off of men and not ever really working for anything. And I know some of y'all may say, well, no, it's women got jobs. And I hear it. I know a lot of women talk about they strong, independent, don't need no man. I get all that. But even that does not mean they don't tell their daughters to try to get into a position when they ain't never got to work. See, a lot of y'all don't understand why women actually work. Okay? Shout out to Shark. He said, I disagree, Roger. Well, come on, Shark. Come on. Let's hear your spiel. Let's hear your spiel. See, and I'm going to say a lot of people, they don't understand why women work. Women don't work because they're trying to, quote unquote, achieve a bunch of stuff. Yeah, you can find a fraction of women who going to do that. But the average sister who works, the average Black woman who works has a job so she does not have to listen to her man. That's the only reason she works. Okay? Now, I get it. She can buy her own stuff. Yeah, that's comes with it. But the main reason she works is so she don't have to listen to her man. I'm not going to say it's the only reason because that's kind of being too ambitious. But I'm going to say the main reason she has a job is so she don't have to listen to her man. Whether that man is her husband, whether that man is her fiance, whether that man is a living boyfriend, that's why they work. Now, being able to pay for something here or there themselves, that's just a small benefit because if you pay attention to women, they don't even like to pay for stuff when they got the money to pay for it. They still rather you pay for it because they want to waste their money on stuff they want. They don't want to use their money on responsibilities. That's why, y'all, it's been so many of us as men. We've not talked to the same women, haven't had any discussions about it, but that's why so many men had a woman at some point ask you, can you help me with my phone bill? Now, I'm not talking about whether you did it or not. Is there any man amongst us? And you know what? And I don't care if you got somebody listening at 18 years old. Is there any man amongst us and some woman ain't asked to get some money out of you to help her pay her phone bill? Either help to pay the bill or to pay the whole bill herself. Is there anyone amongst us where a woman has not said, can you help me pay my phone bill? Now, that don't mean she ain't had the money. Just means she didn't want to pay her phone bill. That's what that means. She possibly could have had the money. She just didn't want to pay her phone bill. She'd rather use her money to go buy some new makeup. She'd rather use her money to go buy some new outfits. She'd rather use her money to put some gas in the car so she can go to some club. Y'all know how women love their phones. Y'all, let's think about the psychology of that. Y'all know how women love their phones. But is there any man amongst us and a woman ain't said to us at some particular point, can you help me pay my phone bill? What I'm trying to show you is they don't even want to pay the bill for one of their most prized possessions. That phone. You know, and nowadays, you know, a lot of us, we live a lifestyle where a phone is hard to do without. We don't want to really go without our phones because there's so much stuff that we're using that's attached to our phones. You know, some of us using maps, GPSs. We got, you know, folks got their credit cards on the phones, you know, cash apps, you know, all kinds of stuff is on your phone. So it's becoming a tough world to live without a phone. But even before all that was going on, y'all know how women love their phones, but they don't even want to pay their own phone bill. Now, I done say it time and time again, and unfortunately, I had a lot of channels lost, but I done say it time and time again. Why y'all think women get online talking about somebody had a baby but ain't paying enough in child support? Because the ideal of paying for their own child is not fun to them. The ideal of paying for their own child bothers them. Let's just keep it real. Now, a lot of people may say, no, that's a moral thing. No, it's not a moral thing, because guess what you do not hear online? You do not hear online that you don't hear men talking about how women won't pay for their kids. You don't hear that. But every day you can go online and hear some woman talking about how she don't want to pay for her kid and how some guy ain't gave her enough money. She just don't want to pay for her children, man. She don't want to pay for her children. But they gonna tell you all day, give up your virginity, go have sex so you can get stuff out of men. What good is a man that you can't get nothing out of? See, that's what women believe. What good is a man that you can't get nothing out of? And a lot of them are so what I call lazy-minded. That means they just don't even want to think. What's the easiest way you can get the money out of a man? You have sex with him. That's the easiest way to get money out of a man. Go have sex with him. That's what they focus on. That's what they believe. Being feminine, I know guys say, yo, women ain't feminine enough. They don't see being feminine as a way to get paid. I'm going to tell you what's going on, what the real is. They don't see being feminine as a way to get paid. Okay? They see, I go have sex with a man, and then I'll try to get paid off that. Their mamas ain't telling them go be feminine because that's going to get you paid. So a lot of them don't focus on stuff like that. Now, shout out to my main man, Trail Bentley. Appreciate you big time, my brother. Appreciate you big time. And shout out to you for paying the Trail Bentley tax. That 57 cents mean a lot. Now, Trail says, let her hole has never been dry. Oh, let her hole has never been dry begging on the casteth. I think that's supposed to be a who. Let whose hole has never been dry begging casteth the first stone. Shout out to you, Trail. Shout out, being poetic with it. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. And shout out to my main man, Jerome Payne, in the building. He said, damn, they so greedy and lazy, Roger. Yep. That's what it is. A whole lot of greed, whole lot of laziness. And that's a horrible combination, y'all. Let's be real about that. It's a horrible combination to be greedy and lazy. Because if you're greedy, if you got some work ethic, you might be able to, stash a lot of stuff away. But when you greedy and lazy, you just torturing yourself. You torturing yourself big time to be greedy and lazy. That's gotta hurt. Shout out to my main man, Landon. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. He said the easiest way to get money out of a man is just to be a good woman. Now, Landon, you spitting some truth, but that ain't how the women think about it. They say, hey, the easiest thing I can do to get money out of a man is to give him some pussy. The next thing is to try to trick a man into think I'm giving him some pussy. But getting stuff out of men is wrapped around pussy to them. And the thing is, y'all be realistic with yourselves. When is the last time y'all saw a woman talking about getting something out of a man and it didn't include pussy? Is I'm gonna give him some pussy, or I'm gonna make him think he gonna get some pussy. And I hate to be that crass with it, but that's what's going on. Now, in order to get some stuff back in better order, men, we gonna have to start the great virgin boycott. We're gonna have to refuse to have sex with virgins. Now, I get it. Somebody might say, well, you're gonna have to stop having sex with women in general. Well, once they're not a virgin, they're not a virgin. It's over with at that point. Once they're not a virgin, they're not a virgin. Now, I'm not saying they're hoes just because they're not virgins, but they definitely not virgins. So at the end of the day, you don't know if a woman had sex with one man or 1,000 men once she lost her virginity. There's no way for us to really tell. That's why I say that a woman wouldn't, I don't even ask for a body count because a woman would never tell me a number that I'm going to believe. Okay, if I don't know you personally, I'm not going to believe you about whatever your number is. Now, I'm not saying men shouldn't ask a woman what the body count is. I'm just saying whatever number she say, I ain't going to believe her anyway. That's all I'm saying. I am not saying don't ask what the body count is. If that's what you want to do, look, man, I don't buy into this stuff that women say. If you want to know, then you ask. It's that simple at the end of the day. There is no woman that you might pay for that you shouldn't ask her some questions that you want answers to. If you're willing to pay for her, you can ask whatever you want to ask. And that's just real talk. Okay? Shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable. He say, let them know. Playing T.I. in the background. Don't get on the panel and act like a fool today. I'm in a soup snatching mood today. Well, there's a warning, y'all. There's a warning, okay? So yeah, you can come on up, but don't act crazy, y'all. He said he in the mood to snatch some soup. The mood, y'all. He might be having a good morning, got up, had a good morning stretch, and said, hey, you know what? I want to snatch me some soup today. So y'all be careful out there. Y'all be careful. Shout out to my main man, Trey Bentley. One more again. He said, damn, autocorrect. Let he who hath never been dry begging cast the first stone. Okay. That sounds a little bit smoother. It definitely sounds a little bit smoother that way, but thank you, my brother, and thank you for the 57-cent Trail Bentley tax. And y'all, I'm using that phone as an example because we know women love their phones. And, and over the years, it's been harder and harder to do a lot of stuff without your phone, but they love the phones way before they even got to quote unquote being smartphones. We know women love them phones. Yet they still ask us, hey, can you put a little something on my phone bill? It's time for me to pay my phone bill, but I'm $40 short. I'm $60 short. Can you pay my whole phone bill? This stuff does happen. Now, I'm not tripping on no man who paid you. It's your money. You do what you want to do with it. Okay, I don't believe in trying to chastise men on how they spend their money. I just want you to notice what's going on. Okay, I just want you to notice what's going on. And I don't know of a woman being around any man. It ain't even got to be her man. I don't even know of a woman who don't ask for help with a phone bill. And that's one of the most precious items to them. And they don't want to pay it ain't that they not going to pay the phone bill. I'm not even saying that. It's that they don't want to spend their own money to pay that phone bill because they just want to trick their money off that bad. Yeah, will you pay my bills so I can trick my money off? A lot of people talking about guys tricking off money, but ain't nobody tricking off money like women. They do everything they can so they can trick off every dollar.
Hey, Roger.
Well, before you say it, let me get this last super chat out the way, and then you clearly say what you want. Shout out to Jerome Payne. One more again. He say, if a woman ever told the truth about their body count, the heavens would split open and we might see the second coming of our Lord and Savior. Yeah, you know what, Jerome? He ain't gonna give us that much time. He not gonna give us that. If that was all it took to get him to come back, man, come on. He ain't gonna give us that much. Now I'm gonna go on down there because they ain't gonna do it. You know, I ain't saying that's how it's happening, but I'm pretty sure if that came up, hey, geez, you gonna go back down there when the women start being honest about their body? Man, let me go on down there because they ain't about to happen. But go ahead, turn around. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, there's one group of men that you forgot about. You said boyfriends, you said but
Well,
their fathers,
fiance, yeah.
fiancés, but there's a bunch of 40-year-old women here in Atlanta that got their father paying their phone bill, paying their insurance, and some other knickknacks. And I mean, it could be stepfather, father, and these girls just working the program, man. They trying to work it.
You know what? That is a great point, Tunnel Runner. There are still women. And I'm not saying a dad won't do for his daughter even when they grown. I got a dad. He do for his children. We all grown. We been grown. Okay. He still do stuff for his children. But you ain't like, it's some women that won't let their dad get no rest because he know they gonna come begging. And you know what, y'all? Real talk, I do believe. I'm gonna just say this is belief because I ain't never did a survey on this one, but I'm gonna ask some guys about this too. I'm gonna go out and do some more surveys on this particular thing. Are you working past 65 simply because your daughter won't quit asking for stuff? I'm gonna go ask men about that. I'm pretty sure it's guys doing that, may not taking it as a real conscious thought, but they know they need X amount of dollars and they know X amount of days out the year, they daughter gonna come ask for something. And he probably 65 and better. Wanna come home, wanna call it a career, but he can't call it a career because he know his daughter gonna show up asking for something. And I really do believe it's men that are 65 and older still working, not because they got to pay off some mortgage, okay, not because they still trying to pay off some car note. No, they just got a daughter who gonna ask for money from time to time, and she just won't let them rest. But I'm gonna slow down right here, and I'm gonna let Black Uru get the flow. You got it, Black Uru. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Roger, how are you? I hope you and Tano and the folks in the public chat are doing well. And I think you got a pretty good notion there with a lot of older Black men working, well into their later years, not solely or primarily to help their daughters or their children. It's a part of it. It's like a part of retaining some degree of perceived usefulness. A lot of times you help not just because, and I guess I'm speaking for I'm being somewhat autobiographical. Sometimes you help or do things just out of maybe empty nesting kind of thing, and like I say, for men in particular, you went through what would have like been a 20+ year period taking care of this person, and you become somewhat comforted by the feeling of usefulness, and so a lot of times that's a product of that as much as anything else. So no, I definitely have observed that. Well, quickly though, just to, I guess, in my opening statement, you're not going to have any virgins. You're never going to have any virgins in households led by women. They're not even really designed to preserve the virtue of women outside of the context of men being in the position of stewardship, father and husband. That's how you maintain, chastity going into marriage. You remove men from the formula, or again, blood father. And emphasize the word blood father because that's critical. When you remove blood father and husband from the household, they're really not even supposed to remain virgins at that point. They're supposed to be mating and fucking at that point, you know. And I'll expand on that shortly.
Okay. And I do believe I get what you're saying because, you know, if there's not a man to take care of the woman, how's she gonna eat? You know, that's real things that women deal with. You know, now we as men, we can only do so much. And I do think we accept blame where we should not accept blame, and we let women get off the hook for way too much stuff. You know, because and I get it. Mainstream media has pushed these ideas for a long time now. Why there's so many black women who are even having sex? They're going to say it's because of men. But the reality is women have sex because they want to have it. Now, you may not know the real reason she's having it because women have sex for a lot of different reasons. And a lot of times women will have sex because they want some particular thing. I've said this before, y'all. I remember, see, back in the day, Roger was on the party line. He was on the party line back in the day. And I was supposed to meet up with a young lady. She ended up being late. She came over and she told me the straight up truth. And I'm gonna read this super chat real quick. I'm gonna tell you what she told me, y'all. Shout out to Landon. He said, "Sorry, bro. I haven't seen a woman with a V car since middle school." That's sad. That's all I'm gonna say. That is sad, brother. I feel bad that happened to you, brother, but I totally understand it. I totally understand it. That's just real talk. Now, I can say there was a few girls that who I graduated with, and they were still virgins. You know, it wasn't that many of them though. It wasn't that many of them, but I knew a couple that were still virgins even when we were graduating. So I know it can happen. It just don't happen that often. Now, again, y'all, I was on the party line back in the day, talking to a girl. We hadn't hooked up yet. We was gonna have our first meet. And then she ended up being late for the first time we was supposed to actually meet up, you know? And you know why she was late, y'all? She told me the straight up truth. She said, I went and had sex with my ex-boyfriend. Now, I don't know why, if she thought that was gonna help her with me, but she told me the straight up truth. And I say, well, okay, well, we've been talking all this time on the phone. If we about to connect, why would you go and have sex with him when we actually about to connect? Well, I've been with him before, and I knew he was real. I don't know what I had coming over to see you for the first. I don't know what it was really going to be. Now, she treat me like I'm a lying woman. You know, because trust me, the women on the party line, they was lying their behinds off, y'all. That's why I don't believe women to this day. Well, one of the reasons I don't believe women to this day, they lie like a mug. And this is the party line. This is before the internet was in people's homes and all that. This is before cell phones and screenshots and all this type of stuff. No, this is just the party line. People describe themselves. And there's some booger woogers out there who said that they was fine as you don't know what, and you had to go see if it was real. So she's hit me with it. She treated me like a lying woman. Okay. I don't know what you was until I seen you. And I'm just being realistic. I can't really argue with that. Now, I ain't mess with her because she just had sex with somebody. So I was like, okay, well, it's all good that you told me, but you got to roll up out of here. Yeah, you fresh off somebody else. I can't mess with Roger,
you. The fantasy was Janet. The fantasy was Janet Jackson. The reality was Freddie Jackson.
I mean, bro, I seen some way worse than Freddie Jackson out there, but that was a real thing. So I know women been lying for a long time. Now, why am I saying something about this, y'all? The woman told me the straight up truth. I said, well, why would you have sex with that dude and you knew he was going to meet? She told me straight up truth. I wanted some attention. I knew if I had sex with him, he would give me some. She told me that straight up. Now, that was almost her exact words. I knew if I went to have sex with him, he would give me attention. And that's what I wanted. Women have sex for all types of reasons, y'all. We be thinking it's us, but it be some other stuff going on most of the time. I'm just telling you the straight up real. So it's gonna be hard to get some virgins out here, y'all. But I do believe black men need to get to a point where we just gonna have a virgin boycott. If we're not gonna marry her and she's a virgin, we just ain't gonna touch her. I think that's the way we should go. But we gonna discuss it and see what people think about it. But Great Black Reset is here, so I'm gonna go ahead and let him get. Well, yeah. Great Black Reset is here. I'm gonna let him get the mic. You got it, my brother.
Good morning, good morning. Oh man, I'm so proud of you. I don't know what to say. I'm almost at a loss for words.
Oh, give me that
Uh,
glory tear. Let that glory tear drop. That one tear.
man, man, for those of you who missed the party line, you really missed the party. And it was some good parties and some bad parties, but it was definitely a party, man. Goodness gracious, boy, you brought back memories when you said that. But however, uh, women, adult women, older women are very interested when it comes to this subject. So as a man, if you tell a woman, I'm looking for a virgin, no, their first reply is always, "Oh, you're a pedophile. You're looking for a child." You know why? Because they think virginity is only for children. They truly believe that you should give up your virginity as a child. If you really, really think about it, they think as a child you should start having sex. That's why they accuse men of being pedophiles for wanting virginity. This is how far we have fallen as a people. I'm with you 100%. I think when men come across virgins, and I've come across quite a few in my time as an adult, I think we should leave them alone until we marry them. I think we should allow virgins to remain virgins. The women are not going to leave this cause. Virginity has no value to older women because they have given it away so cheaply. And they're going to teach younger women to give it away cheaply. Virginity only truly has value to the husband of that woman that she's going to marry. And as long as we have these mother-led households, they're going to do everything they can to to destroy the virtue of these young women. I'll let my plane there. Hmm, interesting.
Hello, hello.
I hear somebody. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah. And let me
Yeah.
say this real quick. I accidentally hit the mute button. I hope I ain't say all that stuff with the mute button. Oh man, I said all that stuff with the mute button was on. I'm salty
Yeah.
Yes,
now.
sir.
Lord have mercy. I was dropping fire too. All right, man. Well, let me say this real quick, then I give it back to you, Great Black Reset.
Okay.
Um, Look, for unmarried women, it's always a competition. Married women, they compete in other ways, but for unmarried women, there's always a competition. So women who are older, they're not gonna raise a daughter to keep their virginity because they may meet a man that they think might marry them one day. And the last thing they want is for that man to look at their daughter and say, what a great virtuous young lady she is. Because now in her mind, that's competition. She competing. I don't care if it's her daughter. Women think in competition levels on a regular basis. She is competing. So she doesn't want a virtuous young lady at her home if she brings a man there. She wants a chick who already been
I
around the
don't,
block. Go ahead. Go ahead, Black Guru.
but I don't. I mean, with all due respect, I don't think it's. Look, it may be to some degree that's sinister. I believe that is likely often true, but I think it's natural for an elder female to encourage a younger female to mate. I think that's a natural thing. It's a most essential thing. It's the most essential thing for the perpetuation. Don't look at it from a human standpoint. Look at it from a mammalian standpoint or a biological standpoint. Everything constructed about a mammalian female is about conceiving, carrying, birthing, and nursing a child. Everything, I mean, every part of her physical design, her metabolic design, that's her primary purpose. It's natural for females to encourage each other to mate. That's why you you have that's why you put a baby in a room of women from ages 15 to 70 and they all go crazy. Do you ever notice that? They all go crazy. They all start, mothering or want to mother or want to make babies. It's a natural thing. That's why I said earlier they were never designed to preserve the sexual integrity of each other. That was the job of a husband and a father, a grandfather, an uncle, and to some degree, lesser degree, brother. That's what the men were supposed to do, and encourage and compel the women to maintain amongst each other. Absent the men, there's no purpose of them guarding their chastity. There really isn't. Not, and certainly not biologically. There is no purpose. You're grown, you're bleeding. Let's be real. You're bleeding, so you are biologically grown. The only thing that's unnatural, really, Roger, is if and when a mother pimps her daughter out, and that child has not yet reached her physical majority or started to have a menses cycle. But once a girl has a menstrual cycle, she's biologically a woman. Maybe not by American rules and Western rules and all of that, but in the animal kingdom, that's a woman, and a woman is supposed to make and nurse children. It's the
Right.
failure of the society to separate fathers, particularly black fathers, from families that cause the problem. It's not really now the women have been empowered to make terrible decisions and make those terrible decisions for themselves and perpetuate those terrible decisions across generations, but they're going to continue to do it. They have no they have no other motivation really but to do it. And their natural makeup is to encourage them to give it up. That's their natural makeup.
Yeah, because anywhere where they have a bunch of virgins, the men are very involved. The husbands, the fathers, the grandfathers, the religious leaders are very involved in keeping that situation. It's not the women; it's the men who keep that standard to the women.
Now, I do agree with that, and that's why I think men have to look at things a little bit different. At the end of the day, the women want other women to be hoes because you know the biological thing is there. I'm not going to deny that. It's definitely there. So, do you want the girl to mate or do you want the girl to be a hoe? Because my thing is, I totally get the biological preset of trying to get a woman to mate. But that ain't what they doing. They just trying to get women to have sex so they can get money out of men. So it's not even a mating thing. It's just she wants more hoes around. She wants to feel
Well,
comfortable.
two things can be true. What Uru is saying about the biological aspect of it is true. It's just it's being perverted. It's being perverted.
Yeah.
Feminism perverted the biological imperative. That's what's happening.
And I wouldn't argue that. But at some point I gotta take into account what's really going on. And what's really going on, they're not trying to mate. They're just trying to get young ladies to be hoes. Why? Because they want less competition. Now it could be a natural thing going on there too. I'm not going to deny, the natural part because they still women at the end of the day. That's something I always remind women, no matter what woman they talking about, bro. Don't forget she's still a woman. There's certain things that go along with being a
But
woman.
when you say they want uh them to be hoes, I mean, how it's not. If you look at it at its core, it's not any different than a mother wanting a daughter to get married in the context of a corrupted world, because the purpose of her getting married is to gain financial support, protection, etc., whatever. But what happens when you go from Earth 616 or whatever to Bizarro world? Well, you see a different manifestation of that urge. You go from protection, man, leadership, or whatever, to yeah, you're still marketing as because a wife markets as a wife just markets as in a better scenario than a hoe does. But all women are marketing as. It's just a perverted form of it in this current environment. But they all that wife wants the resources, that wife wants the protection, that wife wants the status. And she knows the bargaining for that is her sex. Well, it's the same thing with these women, but in a world where we're not going to get married, or we've been trained to resent men and not trust men or whatever. So now we got to have a different kind of relationship with men and how we market sex to men than in Earth 616.
Now, shout out to Trust, the sponsor of the stream. Always good to see you, sister. She drops the 57-cent Trail Bentley tax as well. So thank you for that. And she says, glory fee. Yeah, and this is where I'm getting that one tear coming down, because I know what Black Crew was saying is correct. I just know how women are going to use it if they hear it. So this is what my glory tear coming down right now. So shout out to Trust. Appreciate you, sister. Appreciate you. And shout out to Robert Platinum. He says, sponsored by Robert's Platinum's Beef Repair. Well, brother, I know you ain't going out of business no time soon. You ain't going out of business no time soon. But as long as we over in this place. But my thing is, hey, I'm not against a woman trying to get somebody to mate. I'm definitely not against that. I encourage people mating younger and earlier because it's the right thing to do. And it allows life to go in a much better way if you actually hold on to your husband as a woman. My issue is they want their daughters to do everything but mate. They want them to use sex to get stuff out of men, but they definitely don't want the woman to actually mate with a man. And so it's definitely perverted. And shout out to Landon one more again. He said, at Uru, bum, 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 dramatic reverb. Well, you know what? It's going to happen. But I'm gonna say, y'all, this is where we as men going to have to encourage the mating part. Because they just going to encourage the sex part. They've made that very clear that the sex part is what they want to encourage, but the mating part, they have no real interest in pushing. And shout out to Afro Merchant, who says she was born at 3 or 4, molded by it. She didn't see light until she was a grown woman. By then, it was blinding. Hashtag long live habitual line steppers. And you know what, Afro Merchant, I think that is a great way to put what's going on. Because most of these women are born to hoes. And when your mama a hoe, I do believe that that's a tough thing to overcome. You know, it's sad that black children got to overcome their single mothers on a regular basis. But when your mama is a hoe and you a girl, yeah, that's a whole lot to overcome. It's a whole lot to overcome. And you don't even get nobody to tell you, hey, don't follow everything your mama do because she a hoe. No, you got to figure that out on your own. But by the time you figure out your mama's a hoe, it's too regular at that point. For most women, it's just too regular. They're not gonna walk away from it. It's too regular. They're already involved in some of the behaviors themselves. So I believe it's extremely hard on a woman when her mama's a hoe. But usual business, you got the flow, my brother.
Oh God. Okay. You can go. There's videos on The View, right, which is a very very esteemed show where the host on the show, Whoopi Goldberg, and a few other women tell women to it's good to have a hoe phase before you get married. Now, I don't know where you become a let's say what is it? Was a part-time prostitute, and that becomes like something that you can just kind of stop and just kind of absolve yourself of these actions and then get married. But that's the thing they push it. So I actually I think I stand with whoever has said that they just want them girls to be hoes and that's it. It's nowhere you can put that, bro. They want these girls to be hoes, but they literally say, "Girl, have a hoe phase," and then get married, which is literally antithetical into your job description of being a wife. So, I mean, like you said, if your mama a hoe, bro, you pretty much F, bro. Superhead, the daughter, bro. Her video is out, bro. That's all I got to say, bro.
You said
she was first. But say it again.
Did you just say her video is out?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Superhead daughter. Yeah, bro. That's just it's already out, bro. It's just,
I didn't know Superhead had a daughter, but I can only imagine.
I can only imagine, bro. You can only imagine.
Well, I guess you say the video. I can do more than imagine because you say the video.
Yeah. So I gotta say, bro. The environment is cancer, bro. You know my phraseology, but these Negroes gonna keep juggling these chainsaws. So hey.
Well, I think that just we as men, because again, we can't stop hoes from being hoes. We can't stop women from giving up their virginity. The only thing we really could do as men is make a decision that we are not going to participate in taking a woman's virginity if we have no plans to marry her. And I'm not saying you think you're going to marry her. I'm not saying you are engaged to her. I'm saying you would have to leave her alone until she actually goes down and gets married. Then have sex with her. Because I do think that I mean, that's the only real part we can play in. And I think the main thing that men have to do, we got to stop blaming ourselves for women choosing to be hoes. Because a lot of men, they'll try to blame themselves that women are hoes. Well, back in the day, I was doing X, Y, and Z when I was in high school or in my early 20s. I was running through these hoes. What that got to do with you? If you can have sex with her, what really makes you believe could nobody else do it? That's what make them hoes. The fact that they don't stop with one man. So I think, a lot of men show their stupidity, but hey, stupidity is a choice. Nobody has to involve themselves in stupidity. We do it when we want to at the end of the day. You don't have to involve yourself in stupidity. Why would you have guilt that somebody chose to be a hoe and you just happened to be the man she slept with? She was going to do that anyway. That's what make them hoes. If they only had sex with one man, we wouldn't call them hoes. Yeah, I was running through them back in the day. And what that mean? It just means you met somebody who decided to be a hoe. You don't get to run through women that don't make a decision to be hoes first. And I think this is where a lot of men, we drop the ball and we don't, we're not trained to see ourselves as leaders unless it's in something negative. How can I make a woman be a hoe when I need her to decide to be a hoe for me to have sex with her? We get caught up in a lot of nonsense.
Roger, bro. Man, I've heard that so many times out here in these streets, man. In these streets, I heard that so many times. I'm like, bro, she got 2 kids by 2 other folk, bro. Like, what do you mean? Like, bro, she got 2 other kids by 2 other folk. What you mean? You talking about a pure lady, bro? I'm like, bro, 2 other kids, 2 other.
Well, my thing is, if a woman decides to be a hoe, it stands to reason she will eventually have kids. That's just stands to reason. If you go out having sex all the time as a woman, and it's one of the primary things you spend your time trying to figure out how to get done, yeah, of course you're gonna probably have some children right away. That's a natural thing. A bunch of sex usually means kids. That's just the way life goes. But we got Inspired Truth broadcast who done came up, so let me get it over to him. Go ahead, Inspire. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Can you hear me? Am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. I kind of I'm going to keep beating this drum on this every chance I get. That whole idea that stupidity is a choice. It really is. That thing, seeing the echoes of the sexual revolution. And the sexual revolution was a belief system. And from that belief system, you have people kind of acting as if the sexual capital does not matter. Like the same way that you're a man and you have financial capital and you don't want to trick off your capital and end up in all kinds of debt and end up like financially destroyed. We have a belief system where the women believe that their sexual capital does not matter anymore and that they can be kind of like devalued, destroyed on that side of things and still demand and require a man that is valuable at the same time. Like it's all kind of surrounded around, I can get what I want, but what that guy wants, the object that I want doesn't want anything. And by the way, he should want whatever I say he should want, type of deal. And you're going to get bad outcomes from that over and over again, while saying, okay, you can go with your excitement. Like you'll hear that whole thing about excitement first. Yeah, go get your excitement, live your life, do this, do all the stuff that you want, and then show up later on, and then everything's going to be all good. Like, nah, you got consequences on the way of your excitement. Like men can go out there and trick off on stuff and do our excitement, and then there'll be consequences for that. Like we understand the concept of consequences. But I'm going to drop it there for the moment.
Well, I'm going to say, I do think that's one of the worst things that men do. We listen to what women want and we act like it's supposed to matter. Now, I've said time and time again, I don't worry about what women want. Now, and I'm talking about for the most part. Yeah, if it's my woman, yeah, I'll give some consideration of what she wants. And a lot of people may think that, why does Roger say something like that? Because I was raised to be a man. When does it matter what you want? This is a real thing about life. It's far beyond just a relationship. When does it matter that you want something? When you can pay for it. I don't concern myself with what women say they want because they're not willing to pay for men. Now, when you're willing to pay for it, man, then I can consider what you want. But in reality is women want men to pay for them. Now, I do understand because there's some very dysfunctional black women, they will pay for a man because they want to be above the man. I'm not going to blame you for getting in a relationship like that, but I'm just saying it does require you to strip yourself of your dignity. The women would not allow you to keep your dignity and be paid for. Now, if you want to get your dignity up, more power to you. Just understand what you're accepting as a man, because it's your fault that you accepted that. Now, for me, I know women don't want to pay for men, and they definitely don't want to pay for a man who ain't dependent upon them. So I don't care what women want because they're not willing to pay. I care what you want when you're willing to pay for it. People have children. You care about what your children want when you feel like it. That's a reality. Your child can ask you for something. Sometimes they're going to look at you a certain way, and you're going to give in because they look cute to you, or that's your baby, or whatever the case is, and you're going to give them what they want. It will be other times where you're not going to be in the mood, and you're not going to give them what they want. They're not paying for anything, so it's really dependent upon how you feel at the moment that they ask. That is the reality of the world. The reality of the world I live in, women don't want to pay for men, so I'm not all that concerned about what they want in the first place. Now, you willing to pay for stuff, then I'll listen to you. And I'm a realistic guy. That's why I've said before, if we going out somewhere and somebody say, I'm paying, I don't care where we going. We going to eat. I'm paying. I'm cool. You said you pay. I don't care where we going because I ain't paying for it. It's not even my issue to me. They gonna have something I want. I don't care what kind of restaurant it is. I don't care if I've never been there before. They'll have something I want, but I'm not paying, so I'm not finna worry about it. Now, my thing is, if I want to start making decisions about stuff, I need to start paying for stuff. See, my parents taught me that as a kid. Okay, they told us when we could have what we want and when we couldn't have what we want. You know, they gave us real scenarios behind, well, I'm gonna let you pick your school clothes because, you know, you're gonna be stuck in them clothes because I ain't got to put them on. Now, as long as you pick something that they was willing to pay for, you was straight. But if you brought something back they wasn't willing to pay for, you was screwed. That's just the way it worked. So I didn't grow up having sisters dressed like hoes to school. You see what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure they kept their virginity longer than most people did. And I do believe in order for us to have a situation where there are virgins to pick from, and I'm not talking about a bunch of grown men right now. I'm saying what we can legislate possibly for the future. If we want little black boys to grow up in a world where there are going to be actual virgins available, we're going to have to say, hey, if she's a virgin and I'm not married to her, I'm not touching her. That's a decision we going to have to make because the women ain't going to do it.
Well, that's another thing there. That's accepting that decisions cost. And a lot of us guys, we've kind of wrapped our heads around the fact that decisions cost. But a lot of times, somewhere along the lines, the ladies don't understand the decisions cost. Like, you paid for this because you made this decision, but you haven't quite grasped the fact that cost, because now you've got habits that have come along with it. You've got all these extra things, that baggage and items that are attached to the decision making.
Historically, men see we're in an interesting place in human history where we're being compelled to expect things of women that it's like women have dug themselves into a hole, right? They've been getting everything to dig themselves into this craving this hole, right? Deep hole. They have received no skill, no talent, no training at all as to how to climb out of that hole. They expect us to pull them out of the hole, but they aren't going to necessarily listen to us in terms of how we help to get them out of the hole. You're saying, get out of the hole. You're saying, Roger, get out of the hole yourself. They have no talent or ability to climb up out of that hole. None whatsoever. And you're demanding that they climb out of that hole anyway. And I'm saying, and I'm not saying this to say that there's anything of the fault or the responsibility of men. But what I am saying is they're not going to get out of that hole without men. It's not going to happen.
The Gypsy Tribe of America, bro. The Gypsy Tribe of America. There you go.
All right. Well, let's see his name today. Pop That Coochie has just joined the panel, so I'm gonna let him get the mic. Pop That Coochie, go ahead, brother.
Hey, how you doing, Roger? Peace to the fellas. I was listening from the beginning. I definitely gotta say, good show. And I'm glad Uber went where he went because it kind of helps me go to where where I'm about to go with it. Black women, they fuck up. I mean, they mess up, and they tell their daughters, "Get you a good job so you ain't got to worry about no man." And we all done said this many a time. That's why we got women 40 years old just thinking about getting married. So we already know this happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's society. Women aren't as smart as they want us to believe they are. They are very easily manipulated. And society is what drives them off of that course to giving up the coochie. Everywhere you look is sex, 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 sex. Every song you listen to, sex, sex, sex. Every movie you listen to, sex, sex, sex. Every book you listen to. Same thing goes for the men. I'm on a train the other day. It's a damn ad on the wall. Shorty crotch down coochie right in my face. I'm like, God damn it. Thank God I gotta go to work. Cause I would have probably went outside, went to the bar, tried to holler at something. You know what I mean? It's society. Now, like Uwe said, they're not gonna be able to dig themselves out of it. So if men don't come to this conclusion that society is messing up everything, and if we're not going to be able to stand up and say, yo, this shit needs to be stopped. You shouldn't have every ad should not be sexualized. Even a toothpaste ad is sexualized. It's not going to stop. Like if we're not going to stand up against this machine, it's never going to stop. And look how far this machine has gotten us. I would say since the 80s, since I was born, everything has been sex. I knew virgins probably when I was in high school, but it was a rare few. It was a very rare few. This everything. So I can't because I like I blame black women for shit, B. But sometimes you just gotta keep it funky. I've met many of black girls whose mamas is on their ass about that, but society is steer them all the way wrong. You know what I mean? The friend groups and stuff like that. They meet homegirls and doing this and doing that. But the mamas, I can't say never because that's a strong word. But I would say that would probably be like 25% of them just ain't shit women out there, walking around with bonnets and just straight ratchet and horrible people. They will promote that. But for the strong part, that is why we have these women 40 years old just thinking about getting married. Because they was pumped. Don't worry about no man. Save yourself until you get your education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So just to blame it and say black women be promoting black girls just to go and have sex, I would say that's very disingenuous, and I can't get on that one right there.
I mean, I hear where you're coming from, but I think it's just about a root cause at this point, But I get into that a little bit more.
I want to ask a question real quick. I really want to ask a question.
Wait, hold on. And that's why I always tell you down the Black Power all the time, bro. Once that shit hits over there, it's going to be a wrap too, because it's a society thing. It's a push. I don't know what's pushing it and who's the people that's putting this shit together for this shit to go like this. But it's really being pushed. Like I seen a video of Uganda or one of them places. Everybody got blonde wigs on and straight hair.
That's Nigeria, bro. I seen that shit. That shit's fair, bro.
No, it's over there too. But to what I'm saying is, if we don't stop these things from moving around, every place is going to be contaminated and horrible.
Hey,
me personally, I can't say I know how to stop it. That's why I'm over
here with
smart men so we can figure it out as a collective. But the only thing I can say is ain't no more electricity.
No, I want to say something real quick. Hold on, real quick, right? The issue that you got, I think you said earlier, right? You said it was society, bro. It's not really society, bro. Like, let's be honest, bro. you have an elite class of individuals, right, who are pushing certain agendas that they won't push, right? That is it. Like it is no different between what is it, Adam and Eve, right? And it was in the snake, right? Adam had a certain set of rules or whatever, right? God had his set of rules or whatever, right? You could have followed those set of rules, right? Then still saying the snake came over there and said, "Hey, I got some other set of rules that you can follow." What is it? And Eve went over there and chose another set of rules, right? But when you went over there and chose another set of rules, right, those come with consequences, right? And the problem is the women are now figuring out that they're coming with the consequences that, and this thing is actually hurting them, right? But the problem, you really can't. The problem is you can't save them from the consequences, because if you do, then you pretty much just enable the same shit that's gonna happen again. So a consequence must be had. The question is necessarily, are you willing to endure that? And that's the question that black men seem not to necessarily be able to answer holistically. Now I can, but holistically.
I'm gonna say the thing is, a lot of us, we forget that society is just a group of people.
It is.
Who is the people pushing it? Their mothers. Now, I'm not gonna say I don't see the ads and all that type of stuff, because there's commercials. You know, the one of the main things that you'll hear in the world of marketing is sex sales. So I understand all that is there. I am not going to deny that that is there. It is there. But at the end of the day, who do you answer to?
Mm-hmm.
We've all made some bad decisions. I'm not going to pretend like I made all the right decisions when I was growing up. But, you know, I did have some people I had to answer to that kind of tamed some of the decisions that I would make, because I had to answer to somebody. It just is what it is. So now, if your daughter don't have to answer to you, which most daughters don't have to answer to their mamas, then how do I come to a conclusion that it's somebody other than their mama? The mama is who they answer to, and for mama, it's no big deal.
I would disagree on they don't have to answer to their mamas. I'm saying, as a person who experienced this and went through it, your parents ain't cool as media.
True, but at the same time, though, that's the person you listen. Like this, and I'm gonna say this. I've seen people in this environment and outside the environment, right?
The people who did the most pressuring of my daughters to have sex were their friend group. Were their friends.
Now her auntie,
They were the only girls. They were very often the only girls in their friend group that had not had sex. There was a lot of pressure on them for that, and it got even more complicated when the girls started dating older guys who had cars and money or whatever. Some cases by their junior, senior year, they're dating, their friends are dating guys or in college. Some of them are sneaking from the south suburbs over into Chicago, into Inglewood. Get down with Daquan and them, a few of them brothers off the O Block, all that good stuff. It was their friends. It was their friend group that put the most pressure on them to be sexually active. And if I were not there, they would have most certainly have become sexually active. Most certainly, most definitely, even in spite of the efforts of my wife.
Hey, Roger, right over the border in Mexico, the men make sure that the women know, that the girls know, I shouldn't say the girls, at 15 years old, you are a woman. At your 15-year-old birthday, you are a woman. You are supposed to start be looking for a man at 15-year-old. They make sure they let the girls know this is not, even though, you can't get married till you're 18 in America. In Mexico, it's 16. But they trying to tell the girls to get married young, and that your 15-year birthday is when you become a woman. They're not talking like these women talking here 21, 25, 30 years old get married. They got to get these women married young, so they can be virgins.
Well, the thing is,
And that's just across the border.
Well, the thing is, societies have slight differences here and there, depending on what society you go in. But in that particular society, what you're saying is that the men who are still heading households are protecting their daughters from certain things, just like Black Uru protected his daughters from things. So now, When you have a man there, now it becomes the outside forces. But when the man ain't there, it's the inside forces. Society don't need to tell no girl to go have sex because her mama doing. Her mama does not want the responsibility of paying for her. That is something we as black men have to face. She don't want that. So how does she get somebody else to pay for her? She's going to tell her daughter to go get some man. And when she's a kid or 14, 15 years old, she's going to say, go get a man. She's going to say, why are you messing with them boys who can't pay for nothing? That is implying to her she needs to mess with an older man. Because maybe a 25-year-old can handle it. The 15-year-old, he ain't got no job. The 16-year-old, he working at McDonald's. He working at Burger King. He working at Taco Bell. He can't get her the stuff that she wants. And mama ain't trying to pay for it. So you know what you need to do? You got to go date one of these boys who got some money. You keep saying that. Only thing that's going to equal is go date some man who's already grown. There ain't nothing else. You can't really get around that. Okay?
They telling women.
I heard that many a time, bro.
Don't be dating these older men. Now that's the thing right now.
Shark, I really didn't hear what you said. You went real low. Can you speak up a little bit, brother?
No, I was saying nowadays they're telling them don't date older men.
No. They're telling grown women
don't date older men. What they're doing now is they're telling the 20-plus-year-old women that they are competing directly with not to date older men out of jealousy. But they tell the teenage girls to go out there and date older men so that they don't have to financially take care of them. You got to understand, most single women that have children, they have the children out of control. And the care for the child is based on the premise of what type of resources they can get out of the child. And what Roger's presenting here is this is another way to escape having to pay for anything. Therefore, the child becomes more of a resource.
Well, when you put it like that, when y'all put it like that, I can understand what you're saying because I'm looking at it from the angle of a person born in 1980 and coming up in the world of what I see. But as far as we can say now, this is probably what is going on now.
Well, my thing is look at certain things that people get. Now, I'm a person. I'm one of them people. I prefer Androids. I know for some people that's a huge thing because somebody told y'all what y'all supposed to like, and to my understanding, you're supposed to like iPhones. I don't like iPhones, but based on what I hear, these iPhones done got pretty expensive. I've heard people pay over $1,000 for an iPhone. Now I don't know why you need $1,000 phone unless you got some business making a good amount of money. But I'm just saying what I hear because I don't buy them. Okay, I do not buy. I use iPhones. I've used them before. I ain't never bought an iPhone. I'm probably gonna die before I buy an iPhone. And that's just real talk. Now I'm trying to figure out if people got iPhones and I see these kids in school, they got phones. A lot of these kids from single mother homes, they got phones too. Who paying for these $1,000 phones? My thing is just, 2 + 2 gonna always equal 4. Who paying for these $1,000 phones?
They're financing the phones. The mother they got the plan where you can get 4 lines. And
Uncle number 3.
With all these crazy plans and credit and whatever, these days it's fairly easy to get a fancy type phone. Not taking anything away from what you appear to be alluding to, Roger. That's definitely a part of what's going on for sure. So I don't want to minimize the point you're making, but on that particular point, and this is just something, myself, my wife, we've been through all these plans and all this. They want to keep you in this plan, so they throw out this fancy phone. I'm very sort of new phone agnostic. I think part of the problem that I often have on your channel is I'm holding on to this Galaxy phone. My daughter and my wife have been complaining about me replacing the phone, but I just hate changing I hate change. You get to a certain age, man, you just hate going
No,
through
I'm the
through
same
that.
way though.
That's a new changing phone every couple of years. That's a young man. That's a young person
No,
game,
no,
man.
no,
That's
no.
not a
I can
I'm the
60
relate
same
to
way.
that
some
one.
year
I
old.
understand.
Ooh, I'm the same way though.
Uru got a phone from '84.
I
He talking
I
about
That's
would
what he
rotary
still
said.
phone.
have a old. I kept a flip phone probably 3 years past, and it got to a point where the
And,
flip phone disappeared, and an Apple phone was there. Where my wife was.
hey, and Uru's still on 3G, man. God
That
They,
3G stuff.
they came by his home and said,
So
"Here, man, we need that
yeah,
phone. Take this. We
yeah,
need that one,
Yeah,
man.
they
Take
do
this."
it, bro.
exactly. You got to get rid of that.
They put it in your hand, bro.
That flip phone is disrupting the whole network here. We got to get that off of the network.
Well, I'm gonna say this though. I'm gonna say this. I do understand there are quote unquote family plans and things like that that people can do
No,
to
but
get these phones.
Roger, they are selling their daughters either overtly, but in most cases more subtly than that. That is definitely true. And
Ooh,
I would say this is my stone cold opinion. A mother is supposed to sell her daughter. It's how she sells her daughter. That's the real issue. But women are supposed to sell their daughter. A mother is supposed to prep her daughter for a man. So
prep.
it's not really that it's not really unusual what they're doing. It's because, but when you put that within the context of an evil environment, then it manifests in an evil way. It goes from, yeah, girl, we got to prep you up, we got to put you in the cotillion and make you a debutante and market you out, right? That's all selling. Putting her in the fancy dress and the makeup and whatever. That's all selling. You selling your daughter when you do that. You
Hmm.
selling your daughter when you put her in Jack and Jill and all this and put her through etiquette training. You're inflating her value to be sold. So that inclination to sell is not the issue. It's how they sell and in the environment in which they're selling and marketing their daughter. And yeah, they're always selling their sex. Every woman sells her sex, and every woman encourages other women to sell their sex. It's
Now,
how they do
I
it.
think another
well,
In
hold on one
circumstances
second.
in
One
which they
second.
do it.
We're
I
gonna
like
take
the way you
one
put
quick pause. We're gonna take one quick pause because obviously Black Guru commands a lot of respect to this channel. So rarely do we crack a joke about Black Guru. Okay.
that. Nah,
But
he
this
right.
one of them times. Shout out to Landon.
Oh,
Appreciate the super chat.
dang,
Shout out to Landon. I
dang.
appreciate the super chat. Landon say this ninja still got a car phone. and shout out to Grass State Get Eddie. And Grass State
Well,
Get Eddie say not the rotary
you know,
dial.
Hey, that rotary that
but
hey, bro.
He got the car phone in the
here's the
back.
thing too. Here's the thing too. I still I have in a box every cell phone I've ever owned.
I wish I did
And
that.
the one of the biggest reasons why I have kept it is them is because of messages and and videos and audios of people who are no longer here. My mother and a few other people. So and I've been thinking about at some point moving that material over to some other format. But
Oh, you definitely got to.
yeah, I
Got to.
kept all of my
Well, I wish I had done the same thing. Not for as good reasons as you saying. Mine was far worse reasons. that I still
Follow
wish
words
I had
leaving.
some other
you got some stuff on the phone. You had some stuff on
Hey, bro, hey, man.
you got you got some material on the phone. I
yeah,
got you.
yeah.
I got you.
But Roger,
Uh,
right on a real note, what you were saying about the phones, and I was trying to help you understand how easy it is for them to get it now. It's not like they just need somebody to buy a $1,000 phone. The reason why they even make these phones easier for them to have is so they can keep that programming going on. Is to
well,
keep that stuff in their face, in their face, in your face, in your face.
and I agree with all this 100%. But see, my thing is, it's one thing to get the phone because they make it where you can get the cheap payment program to get the phone. It's another thing to have the phone and the Jordans. Something else to have the phone, the Jordans, and some latest new thing that came out that only girls get. And then when you add the makeup to it, that's another thing. And you start adding a bunch of electronic products to it, that's another thing. A lot of women got tablets when they first came out, but they didn't have no tablet money. So yeah, you can get a thing that's somewhat expensive, but it's a lot of girls that don't miss out on nothing.
Yeah, they mama got these checks coming in. They got dudes buying their kids stuff, right? Then you got the what's that, child support. It's a they, man. One year, me and my man was riding down the street, and I was like, yo, how come all these bitches got a goddamn Mercedes Benz? He was like,
Well,
yo, nigga, child support. And I said, God damn it.
now
God damn.
I'm gonna say this as a person who used to do security, and I've done it in mall areas too. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a girl in there with somebody that clearly wasn't her dad, and he was clearly way older than her. And I just look at him funny, because I know what's going on. You can't really say nothing, can't really do nothing about it, but you know what's going on. So I didn't see it way too much to think, and I get what y'all saying, but women don't like to share child support with children because I tell a bunch of women on a regular basis, instead of spending the child support money, why don't you just give it to your child so they can learn to manage money and they can just get their own stuff. And they hate that idea. They hate that idea with a passion. So I know they're not turning over the child support to their kids. And like I say, y'all, I've been in these places working, and there was a constant trail of girls coming there with some guy who clearly wasn't their daddy, and they was getting all the little stuff that they wanted because some dude was paying for it. So I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't see it too much.
He was their daddy. He might not have been their father, but he was their daddy.
See, but what you're saying, that's the point I was trying to make. That's why a lot of these women are promoting, go to school, get you a job so you don't need no man, because they was in that position of walking past Roger to the T-Mobile store with some dude like Uru said is her daddy. But now that is the reason why. It's like, yo, you ain't out here having to sell your get you a good job, and you ain't gonna need no. That is
Yeah, that doesn't really
exactly
happen
the
though.
reason that these conversations are happening.
Nah, bro. No,
Nah.
the reason the black women do say to do all that shit, because they just don't want to listen to you, regardless, bro. Like,
We're not going to discount the fact of that either. You know what I mean? I'm
no, no,
definitely
no,
not.
no, no,
We
no,
can't
no. No, we have to start from that is the fact, bro. Like everything that black
no,
women do is
no,
something
but
that you
it's
ask against.
also a financial thing. And at the end of the day, she has to, in order for her to give you sex, she's going to have to bow down to you, basically. You know what I mean? So it's like, so you don't even have to
No, she
do
don't,
none
bro.
of that.
If the court can give it to her and she can take it from you, she'll take that. Like black, like see, like
No,
for me,
I said sex.
I'm not under the illusion that who I'm dealing with anytime I go outside my house, bro. Bro,
I'm saying
you ask for natural hair,
sex.
they give you straight hair, bro. You ask for quote unquote for them to be dutiful wives, that they give you the biggest hoes on the planet, bro. Like
No,
I
I'm saying
understand,
I'm referring to
what I'm
sex.
dealing with, though.
In
Y'all seem
order
not to.
in order for you to have sex with a female, she is submitting to you. It might
No,
be
I
for
don't
10
see it that
minutes,
way.
it might be for 4 minutes, but she's
Yeah,
literally
y'all
submitting to
not
you.
getting what he's saying. He's talking about the actual physical act of having sex. She's going to submit to you, which he literally has to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the physical act of sex, that's what he's
Right.
saying. You know.
I appreciate that, Roger.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna say this because the women want so much done without them paying for it. Of course, they're gonna always be trying to sell off their daughter some kind of way. I'm not even saying I'm surprised or shocked by it. I'm just trying to put it out there so we start looking at it in the correct way. Them not being virgins is something they want to achieve. Their mamas are trying to convince their daughters to do it because they mama ain't married and they don't want an unmarried girl as their competition. Now, if you have a man there, I do get, yeah, it'll be society pushing. It'll be her friends at school trying to get her to do it all the time. They will become the bigger pressure because a dad is at home telling her not to be that way. And that's just the way it normally goes. Men constantly tell women not to be hoes. They get it from their fathers, they get it from their uncles, they get it from their brothers, certain associates that is like family to them. But you don't really hear women trying to get other females not to be hoes. You usually hear them encouraging them to do it. They just don't say it in that language. And shout out to Trail Bentley. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, shout out to Trail Bentley. He says,
women,
well, go ahead.
I'm gonna let you go ahead and do it.
That's that.
No, I was just gonna read a super chat. I was just gonna read a super chat. That's all it was, Black Rule. And it might be like a slight delay because I heard you say go ahead. That's when I started going. So I read the super chat. Then you got a Black Rule. And then I want to give it to Inspired Truth again because he was about to say something but didn't get a chance to. And then we're gonna give it to Truth Teller because Truth Teller coming up. Shout out to Trail Bentley. He say not their father, but most assuredly they dad. I can't say nothing about that. I can't say I agree with you. All right, so Black
Guru, lot of daddies. Yeah. Well, they look when you put a woman in a marriage and in a community of people being married and raising families and children, those women are devoutly protective of the preservation of the chastity of the girls. They are, because it's all a part of the system of the culture and the society that they're in. That I must prepare this chaste, beautiful young woman for the best mating and future familial opportunity possible. That woman is going to be protective of the chastity of her daughters. If you move that same woman into Keishaville, into gynocratic Keishaville, her behavior is very different. So, it's environmental. It's environmental. It's not ethics. It's not morality. It's not religion. It's not righteousness or justice. It ain't none of that shit. It's environmental. Period.
Amen. I could dig that, Uru.
All right. Inspired, you got it. We're going to get Truth Teller right after you.
All right. Am I coming in clear now?
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Good. All right. So earlier on, we mentioned that either way, it was still selling. But in previous areas, it was selling into a family structure. So it was like a productive system. And then what we're talking about in the modern era is we're selling, the women are being sold into a dysfunctional system now. It's not a family system. It's an anti-family system. So that's basically just two different system structures that we're dealing with.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Truth Teller, that's your cue.
Sorry, Truth Teller. Oh no, I definitely want to hear Truth Teller.
Truth Teller finna derail the whole conversation.
I gotta hear this flow. I gotta hear this Florida by way of New York flow, man. I gotta hear this.
First, I just need to express to everybody I've gone through some recent life changes. I've matured, and my perspective on my retirement is becoming more and more important and prevalent in my thoughts. So because I've moved into this new phase of my life, I found this conversation just outright despicable.
See.
I cannot tolerate
There we
y'all
go.
trying to coochie police these chicks. All right? If this whole marriage thing don't
Don't
work out for
stop.
me,
Get
I
it.
gotta
Get it.
have a retirement plan, player. Now, if they want a little change, yeah, I'm gonna present myself like I can spell out some. I am gonna be a scumbucket because I ain't giving them nothing. The New York in me won't let that happen, but they're gonna think so, and we gonna move that way until it's time for me to give them something, and I'm just gonna move the other way. But my retirement plan, in case this whole marriage thing don't work out, requires these nice, delectable young ladies who have their heads on straight and know the value of their vaginas, and they're willing to use it to the benefit of people like me in my retirement plan. So y'all niggas gonna have to stop hating on them and be real. They're important to society. We love them. Thank
Pop,
you.
pop that coochie doodle brown.
Now,
Hey,
What
now you
you
know they're gonna
working
shame
with?
you. You know they're gonna shame you for that though. Like it's gonna because they stay on this whole thing. Like, oh, 28, that's a baby. 27, that's a
yeah.
baby.
42 is a baby. No, it ain't. That's too close to my age. We need to move that back because I can't be retired to walking with somebody that look like me. And as I said, if this whole marriage thing don't work out, I'm gonna have to readjust my perspective on my female situation. I can't partner up with somebody my age
Say,
after I hit
baby,
retirement.
you
That's just
can't
This,
clean up the
yeah,
streets
this
because
is
you might need
this
them
is
streets
this
again.
is this
yeah.
is the this is the this is the Darwin approach. Adapt to survive. Is that it? Truth teller.
Yeah. What if my blood sugar drop? I need somebody healthy enough to call the police for me or to call an ambulance. I can't be with somebody my own age. We both died because we couldn't do it. No. We just, and not only that, don't I deserve happiness in my old age? Don't we,
You,
gentlemen, don't we deserve to be happy?
we do.
No,
We definitely do.
So,
no.
I believe there will be plenty of holes out there, even if we can clean the streets up some. I don't think you got anything to worry about just on the real. There's so
no.
many
Well,
of them
see,
right
I
now.
can't take
I don't think it's gonna turn into a problem.
I can't take that risk, Roger. I need to make sure there's a supply out there. I can't run the risk.
Ample supply is what he
Right.
needs.
We can't take chances with this is our retirement, Roger. We in the same age, right? This is where we moving to, Roger. We can't listen.
Oh
We
Lord,
can't accept old hoes. It's just not. It's they can't be. They have no
why,
value.
why,
We got to keep
why,
it fresh.
why y'all don't listen to
Yeah,
me when I be trying to tell
you
y'all about truth teller? Why?
Listen, we
look,
have to
I,
start
I,
sharing
I
our
definitely,
perspectives from our age group. That's all I'm saying.
I definitely empathize with your perspective. That I can definitely empathize. You try to make sure you keep a certain cache of, delectables,
Yeah.
for when you reach a certain stage in life. I get it. I get it. We understand, but we can't crash a society in the process. Right now,
We on our way out,
we're crashing
Uru.
the society just so you can have some retirement answers, man.
Uru,
Look,
We got
look, it's a
we on our way
dual
out, Uru.
retirement
you
We don't
gotta
plan.
care
think
Like
what
a,
he's
happened to
getting
the
you gotta
retired
society.
think a
and you're
little more
retiring.
broadly than that.
We
Well,
on our way out.
I,
We at the
I'm
end of
gonna
the
say
road.
this though. I'm gonna say this though. On some real stuff. The fact that I've never had sex with a virgin, and I done slept with more women than I even care to tell y'all about, and that's real talk. Especially if my mama happened to hear this particular episode. You okay? I done
Yeah,
slept with enough women that I can
I'm with
walk
you.
past when I'm right now and won't even remember I did it.
My number is 10. I've
Yeah,
only been with 10 women my whole life.
that's a beautiful number.
And uh,
a
and uh, and when I say it to my wife, it's
whole
really I
life.
tell my wife 5. My whole life.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
your
My
my
whole
whole
my
life.
life.
my point is Bro, there's a good chance I'll never have sex. I be done that. Ain't never had sex with a virgin. So I just don't think we gonna have to worry about running out of them.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
but now,
saying?
but people,
Well,
right,
running out of
Roger?
holes. I
You
mean,
heard
running out of holes. I don't think we're gonna have to worry about that.
you heard what Truth Teller said, right? 10. You just said you didn't have so many. You don't even know what they look like no more.
See,
One
Bro,
person
that's
got
why.
one person got caught up by society. The other person didn't.
I got 10, baby. It's gonna be 10 for the rest of my life too. I promise. That number ain't never changing. Cause guess
you
why?
just said if something don't work out in the marriage, you out there go
Roger,
straight.
you ain't hear me. You ain't hear me, Roger. You're not listening. It don't matter what happens. It's always gonna be 10 from here on out.
I hear
It
you,
ain't
brother.
never gonna change.
I hear you. I'm just making sure I heard what I heard.
It's 10.
So I definitely heard it this time. I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Hey, if
You
I
know.
can't remember you, you don't count. So,
Yeah,
and
I met a woman who had her 32nd birthday the 20th time. So I know what you're talking about, brother.
there we go. See?
That's
That's
crazy.
called that's called wisdom. That's what I'm on now. I'm growing.
You know what? If I'm going down to 5, then that's what I'm doing.
Nah, nah, player. Nah, player.
I never gave a number. I could have been talking about 3, and just could have had a
See?
hard time remembering them other 2.
You just got
Yeah,
bad memory.
see?
All right, I respect that.
That's it. Listen, if you can't remember, it didn't happen. That's all.
No, I'm playing.
My pot wasn't up.
But I'm gonna say this though. Even when I look back at that, that's why it's hard for me to have a
Nah, folded
perspective.
it up and put it underneath there.
You know, that shark saying something. Hopefully he don't say nothing he don't need to say. Oh, okay, he just muted. Okay, right before I did it, he just muted. Yeah, see, this is why I have it's hard for me to have a perspective that men made women hoes. Because I couldn't even, all the women I've been with, none of them was virgins. None of them. So how do men make hoes? They can't. A woman got to make these decisions from Jump Street. Now, I would love to tell y'all I had a virgin at some point. Go ahead, Blacko. Go ahead.
Outside of the auspices of men and marriage and family, they are by default hoes. They're gonna be hoes by default. They are. There's nothing ethical about it. It ain't
Like,
even
can you
no
break that
much
down
of
a
any sort of
little bit?
decision making.
You could break that
I'm
down a little
saying
bit,
that look,
simplify it for us.
you take away father. First of all, the main reasons why my daughters didn't sleep around was because they were hugging and loving and kissing on me all the time throughout their childhood.
Yes.
So all
All
of that energy, all of that desire for reinforcement from a man, they didn't have to go out in the streets to get it because they were getting it
Ro-
from me. And a lot
Roger
of that,
explained.
what they're doing is, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Roger explained it. Y'all just weren't listening. Roger told you he met this chick from the party line, and she told him I wanted some attention, so I went and slept with my boyfriend. Uru's daughters didn't have to do that.
Yep.
When they wanted some attention, they
They
go to
didn't
their
have to do.
daddy.
Good point. Great point. Thank you for
Look,
summing that up for him.
look. Whenever I've said this before, I can be, if my daughters are in town, I'm in the family room, watching football game, whatever. They are immediately gonna come and lay next to me and hug on me and kiss on me, and both of them. And like the youngest is what, 29? The oldest is what, 30? She'll be 35. Uh, at those ages, that's what they're gonna do, and they're gonna even be like fighting over each other for the privilege. That you cannot separate that from that energy they take into the whole. See, you can't. The father is the key. The father is always the key because and you know what? You don't believe me? Go into social media, TikTok or whatever, and pull up father daughter, particularly black father and baby, female baby videos, and observe how black female babies respond to their father. And if you observe that, you know why they are hoes. Because that's not there for most of them. And they're going to get it somewhere else.
All right. Now, real quick, fellas, shout out to Irvin Reed. He say Roger out here picking up 304 on live links. look, man, there was a party line that came through, and I used it. It had its time. It had its time. Okay.
Roger, party line was a shiznick, Roger. Oh my God. Two of my 10
I
came
missed
from the
out on
party
that.
line, y'all. 2 of my 10 came from the party line.
It came and it went.
And
But I took
in
a little piece.
Chicago, they were at nighttime. They would run. It was so cheesy and so. They would run those commercials at nighttime, and you would have some chicken with red lipstick or whatever. Call the party line. You know, such and such and such. We're having fun over here. They were so cheesy, man.
It was too cheesy.
But I
Y'all
would
were
tell
doing some
y'all, it
y'all were
was
doing
hoes
some
galore.
nasty business on the party lines, man. Y'all were
I ain't
doing
gonna
some
say that
nasty
ain't true.
business on those party lines.
I am not gonna say that ain't true. That party line was lit back in this day. When it had its day, it had its day. But I got 2 guys who need to get in because no placeholder. Wait a minute, did I lose no placeholder? Like no, he's still here. I lost our Ivy League. I ain't remember what his name was. I lost him for a second, but I guess he'll be back. So no placeholder. Go ahead and get in, brother. Go ahead and get in.
Oh, we ain't lose nobody. We ain't lose nobody.
Yeah, let me get in before the Ivy League will come back and take over. But yeah, hello, what's going on? What's going on with you
How
guys
you
in the
doing,
panel?
brother?
Chat level. I'm all right. I actually just came up regarding the whole so I heard thing about selling versus selling in one way versus selling another way, and uh, I I want to basically I didn't get a chance to completely, but from my perspective, this is the way I saw and understood it. The women are a burden. They literally are a burden. Their only real advantage is that they can be multiplied children, and even the children that come out of them are also a burden. So technically speaking, they are a burden and they can multiply your burden. You know what I'm saying? So so this idea of quote unquote selling is not what it was. It was pawning off responsibility. You know what I'm saying? And the virginity was the price for you taking it. You know what I'm saying? Here I'm giving you this young lady. I know that she's basically chaste, so you have nothing to worry about. Take it. It's your responsibility now. Everything that happens, you pay for it. You know what I'm saying? So that was the whole idea behind that patriarchal concept. If you notice in the midst of feminism, they one of the tenets of feminism was to get women economic, saying economics outside of that. And the purpose of that was because in order for them to be hoes, then somebody else had to fund it. Because obviously now that you're going to go from a scenario where you can't give men decent women, you still basically need to find a way for these women to survive economically. You know what I'm saying? So this is why basically it was important for them to get jobs and the whole idea of all that came behind it. But like this idea of selling, no. It was basically men were in a world where responsibility existed. I'm saying aside from having sex with these women, they really have no other boon to them. And yeah, and it was like, yeah, the dads were like, hey, once you take it, you just gotta pay for it. And that was kind of like the idea behind it. But anyway, I'll end right there.
Yeah, but I think that's a negative. With all due respect, I think that's a. It's not that I disagree with what you're presenting, but I think it's a negative. Look, we're all human beings. The women are human beings. The men are human beings. We're all a part of a species of being, right? And obviously, there are things that men can do that women can't do. Men can do in greater abundance, particularly in the tangible world. But there's also great value to a woman that's unique and specific and special to a woman. Obviously, her being able to carry and birth and nurse children and be supportive and being loving. There's a value to that. Men need that. That has a value. So it's not just about offloading burden. I disagree with that. It's about obviously maximizing the exchange for this valuable commodity for which you're going to then utilize to create your family. You know, healthy children. You as a man, you want healthy scions or sirelings or children. So that's a valuable thing, and men are okay with paying for that valuable thing. So I think it's not as cynical, or the motivations. I don't think that historically, I don't think the motivations were as cynical as you illustrate. And here's the other thing too, because of that woman's connection to her birth family. If her birth family are a valuable people, then you've also improved your value. You've improved your network, your potential borrowing capacity or investment capacity by virtue of connection. That's why that's why a queen was so important. A princess and was so important. A princess was was sometimes more important than the prince, because you can sell a princess over to another kingdom and maybe end a war, for example,
I,
by virtue of that
no, I agree
connection.
with you.
So
I agree.
I think it's not as cynical, but you are selling her. Yes, you are selling her, but it's not a negative thing. It's only a negative thing in a bad world. In a good world
But,
of order or whatever, selling that girl, quote, selling that girl is a good thing. You're expanding the prospects of that society. In a bad world, you got a lot of hope.
so yeah, a quick rebuttal, Roger, to what you're saying. I am not saying what you're saying is not advantageous from the point of view of aristocrat or certain high class individual, but I mean, coming from a poor country and a poor environment, most of the time you just don't, you know, they're gonna start having sex, and you just don't want to be burdened with the idea of them having children, and then you have to deal with it. It's I'm saying, because they're just gonna get older and they're gonna like men, so you gotta get it married off. You know what I'm saying, I understand what you're saying from all aristocrat
But
and family
again,
planning and expanding kingdom.
that's still
Yeah,
but that's still a cynical perspective, because the reality is none of us are here if ain't nobody fucking. None of us is here. As brilliant as you are, you're here because your daddy had a tinkle in his nutsack. Now your daddy might have been a ne'er do well or et cetera, or whatever, and your mom could have quote been a hoe. And obviously, I'm not talking about your parents. I'm just saying that part don't matter. You're here now, and you get to do great things coming from wherever you came from. So as humbling as the how the origins or how your origins are, you still have all the opportunity in the world to do great things. And that's been every generation and every person who's ever been born. And yes, there is a cost to the women because they can't do the stuff in the tangible world that we do. So there is a certain exchange that we should willingly make to then derive from them the benefit that they have to share. In a good world, that can happen. In a bad world, maybe in a quote impoverished world, it does create some extra burden. But again, even in that impoverished world, what's the alternative of that? The alternative of that is nobody's fucking and nobody's being born and we die off as a species. That's the alternative.
I do have a request. So, as a man approaching his elderly status and becoming an elder, I
Stop him.
ask
Stop
that you
him.
don't negatively talk down
Stop
to
him.
the potentiality of these hoes. So, she may not be one now, but she can possibly be one. Let's not be negative about that career growth that she might have to experience coming sometime soon. I don't want y'all messing up my retirement plan, and I keep pointing this out. We got to keep in mind it's a system, and everything is played inside the system. Thank you.
We need to get these holes down from this 95% to back to around 10-15%, so
Oh
we
hell
can
no,
get some.
no player. 30, 35 is the lowest. We cannot take it back down to 10, 15%.
That's
We cannot do that.
that's,
We
that's too
can't.
high.
Listen, man, I can't be out in Daytona Beach lonely, player. I just can't. Right? I cannot retire that way.
You gonna have to hold it till Black Beach Week, man. You be all right.
The, the only other option I'm gonna have is I'm gonna have to get married again. I can't do it, player. I can't. It's hey, we got it 30, 35, then we stop, we take our foot off the pedal. We just get it down a little bit and then just take our foot off the
Man,
pedal. We
Well,
need to
that's
don't
have
that forward
a
under,
momentum, though.
yeah,
That momentum.
we we gotta allow some cushion. So take our foot
we
off the pedal at 40 and then it'll creep up to 30 and then we'll
no.
be good. We can stop.
We don't. Okay, we don't went too far, so we got to swing the pendulum back too far. So we got to go from 95 to 5, and then when it settles back down
Damn.
again, maybe we be around. I'll negotiate 20-25. That's as
See,
far as
you
I'm willing to go.
the way you
Yeah.
talking, you making my financial portfolio of my future retirement very fearful for me. Because then that means if it's 5% when I retire, player, that means the market gonna crash for me. I don't want to live like that. Some I have to have some supply for the demand I'm going to have. So therefore, can
Well,
we
well,
do
look.
that after
Here's
my
your
Now we
retirement
sound like
ends?
we're talking about the housing market.
here's
can we
here,
can we do that after?
here's your dilemma. To keep some avoidable holes, you might need a struggling economy. But with a
Hmm.
struggling economy, that's going to impact your investment portfolio. So that's
See,
your
see.
dilemma.
Listen, I'm gonna get you a Delta Airlines ticket package where you can go down to the Dominican Republic once every quarter, and you be down there for a week. Get it out your system. Come on back until we get this thing back right. We're going to 20-25%. That's the best we can do.
Hey, but Uru, going off of what no placeholder was saying, he's actually giving you the perspective of it now, right? Because I've heard them say, "Don't bring no babies home." I was told that. My little sister was told, "Don't bring no babies back here." You know what I mean? Because of that same thing. So I understand where placeholder was saying. He might have said a little crass, but I definitely understand what he was saying. But like you were saying earlier, it's the environment in which it's being done in and how it's being done. And I think that's
Yeah,
due to the whole rise of materialism also.
I hear you, brother. We hear you.
Yeah, but saying don't bring no babies home to a 19, 20-year old, uh, that's biologically foul.
Really
Like
foul, yeah.
biologically.
I'm not
I'm
saying
not
it is.
talking about morally.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I'm not talking about morally. I'm not talking about ethically. I'm not talking about religiously. I'm not talking about economically.
I'm talking
I'm
about
saying
biology.
biologically.
Uh,
Telling a female at its zenith of reproductive capability to not make a child is biologically foul.
I agree. I can agree.
And that's the
Also,
dilemma we have.
it's even worse, Uru. That it's even worse because you're telling her don't come home with no babies, but you're not telling her partner up with a good person to have babies,
That
right?
too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yes.
And when and
Hmm.
when women come out the gate, and biologically, when they come out the gate and they hit these streets, they've already been in this process for 5 years. They're biologically for this process of making families and making more people, they're already delayed, right? And that we have the laws for that.
Hmm.
But then they're
Hmm.
also psychologically delayed because they haven't been trained to be wives, right? They've trained to be
Hmm.
uh they're actually trained to be old women who didn't find a husband, which is kind of crazy. You would
Old
think you
maid.
would train young women to be wives, but you're training them to be old women that can't find men while they're still young. It's ridiculous, but
Hmm.
they're set up to lose, period. It's just really what it boils down to. They just set up to lose, and I don't know what's gonna help. Good luck to them.
The black community is bizarro land. I mean, bizarro
It's not
land.
just the black community. It's not just the black community. It's the other communities too.
Well, I'm
They're all
saying,
like this.
what I'm worried about ours the most, but you're absolutely correct. It's like Western society to a certain extent right now. But I agree with you, my fault.
It's not just that what you telling
Yeah,
them.
it's
You
a
know,
very. No, I was just gonna say it's a very sick. When you think about it, it's a very sick world we're in because it all your natural inclinations and whatever are made evil or
Right.
made impractical or made destructive. And so even the mothers encouraging their daughters to be women becomes something different from just encouraging them to be women. It becomes pimping them out. That kind of basic inclination turns the mothers into matter, essentially.
Truth be told, Uru, it's bad pimping. Because if they had any sense, they would train them for the good men. Whatever it is, he make a lot of money. He's in a different status. You would train them to be with that kind of man if you were actually a skillful pimp, right? But what they're doing, they're not even pimping. They're literally sabotaging them. They're literally training them to be old hoes, but young, which is ridiculous, right? How are you young being trained to be an old hoe?
I think that's a real serious point, and I think it does hit the nail on the head. And shout out to Joes, who says, truth teller don't want to learn Spanish. And you know what? It might be something to it, because he worry about these hoes when he become an old guy. These hoes ain't that expensive, man. You go get the professionals, they cheap. The professionals are cheap. You just go, technically, you just run to Vegas real quick. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, bada bing, bada boom.
My financial pride won't allow me to make that kind of investment. I'm sorry.
The problem is this guy got corrupted by all that loot and 2 Live Crew shit he came up under. all that free spring break, all that free spring break pussy he got. He got a distorted perspective.
I'll tell y'all a secret. I got a lap dance. I got a lap dance from Trina in the early '90s. Just so y'all know, I got a lap dance from Trina in the early '90s.
You cannot go from getting lap dances from Trina to tricking off on these hoes too tough. That's
I was out
problem.
there. My Miami folks, y'all remember Crockles? Y'all remember Rolex? Yeah, I was out. Yeah, man, I was out there. It was fun. It was fun. Crockles ain't even there yet. But Rolex is. Rolex still there.
That's true. That's truth teller's problem. His thing is them old player days and them old player ways are too strong.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I've only been with 10 women. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to 2 Live Crew. First album I ever had. You know what I'm saying? I found it. It was in some Walkman cassette, but shout out to 2 Live Crew, the first worldly music that I've ever had for myself. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to 2 Live Crew. But no, I mean, the thing is, there's a lot of temptation out there, and I totally get that. But my thing is, I blame women because at the end of the day, it's your household. I think that's the only fair person. If I'm gonna start blaming anybody, I'm gonna start with the people you answer to. So when I look at a little girl and she's on her way to being a hoe, I gotta blame her mama, because she answers to her mama. And I think because I think this is where black men have honor that goes too far. We say, well, it's always going to be in the man. The man don't even head that household. How could he be responsible for a household that he doesn't head? Because, see, to me, that doesn't make sense. That's like telling me my neighbor's dad was responsible for our household. I mean, he was our neighbor, but we ain't mess with him like that. It just don't make sense to me. You have to blame the head of an organization, whatever type of organization that you're talking about. If a church is bad, I blame the pastor. If a company is bad, I blame the president or the CEO. Whoever's behind this stuff at the end of the day, that's who I'm going to always blame, the person in charge. If something happens when parents go out and they bring over a babysitter, if the house burned down, I blame the babysitter.
The next thing that gets said is that, oh, being a single mom is hard. And that's true. But also, you kind of chose to play the game on hard mode.
My thing is, it can't be that hard. Why would so many people do it? Can't be that hard. You get all these different benefits. You get sympathy of regular people.
Hard is an interesting term. I mean, well, here's the thing with women, which you can realize though. Sometimes it's hard. It's very hard, and they like it hard, or they're inured to the hardness. And yeah, there's some double entendre there. So definitely. Definitely some multiple meanings there, if you know what I mean. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you do. If you don't, I feel for you. But they're inured to the struggle. They're inured to the struggle. So that's not that could be not to say. Sometimes they're bullshitting, and sometimes they are into the struggle and into the suffering, and even get off on it. And a lot of times, us quote good guys, or you quote good guys, because I don't really consider myself to be a good guy. Y'all don't really go with no struggle. Nah, I stopped being that, man.
I'm a good guy.
No,
I don't have much sexual experience. I don't, I'm not aware of. I can be taken advantage of easily. Is all I'm saying, and I've come to terms with that in my life. That's all.
I'm gonna say I'm a good guy because I've never misrepresented myself to these women at any particular point. Could get anything off of them. I always told them the truth. It just is what it is. I told them what it was. If they was down for it, they was down for it. If they wasn't, they wasn't. But I always told them the truth. So again, that's why I have such a hard time trying to blame men for women being hoes, because nobody makes you have sex with anybody in this country. We will literally lock a man up if he's caught. Nah, Black, I tell them the truth because I know they hoes.
I didn't have no problem lying. I didn't have no problem lying. In fact, a lot of times I had fun doing it. I ain't gonna even, I'm not going to pretend.
That's real. I mean,
I know truth teller done some lying. So I feel comfortable in this environment.
I don't know what Uru is talking about.
And the fake faces.
I don't know why Uru is translating. Why are you translating married man talk into actual man talk? Uru?
I know he has done some lying, so I feel very comfortable taking that position publicly.
That ain't how we talk, Uru, in our current status, sir. We don't talk like that in our current status. Our current status is we don't lie.
In our current
you
status,
should listen to what we say.
Right.
Yeah, you should listen to what we say because we know better. And just follow along, and we'd be all right. Everybody will be happy.
I know what Black Crew was saying. He talking about in this, what he used to say, his backsliding day. That's what he talking about. He ain't talking about current.
That's what that is. Okay, early, I got you. I get you. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. I'm talking about in your don't stop get it era. That's what I'm talking about. You don't stop get it era. Yeah.
All right, in that era, I don't even know if I spoke the truth ever. The sky was red back then. But I'm good. I'm good now.
I'm telling you, man.
That's a heavy statement right there. That's a heavy statement.
No way you during spring break in 98 or 97. No way you were telling the truth back then.
Listen,
Roger, I'm a prophet. I told you, we need that segment, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, man. We need it.
Hey, we talked about
These
that
fellas got things they got to get off their chest.
we talked about that off air. Technically, that's the off air conversation. We might get to it, though. We might get to it. Yeah, real talk. Now, of course, I ain't gonna participate heavy in that because I ain't do all that. Okay.
No, we gonna talk about the people we allegedly know.
So you never
the people
said,
we
oh,
allegedly
hey,
know. I like that one. Yeah.
so you never said, oh, hey, the hotel got canceled some sort of way, but I do have this car over here. Let's just go kick it in this car instead.
No,
It was worse than that. It was far worse than that, player. Yeah, it was far worse. I'll tell you in Bible study, it's far worse than that.
Yeah, I came up in a time where it was made plain to me that they hoes, and it don't take all that.
The truth
And
teller,
that's just
remember
what it
Pebble
was.
Beach?
Oh, stop it, man. Stop it. My homeboy had a crib out there. We used to go. Yeah, his mom's had a house. Pebble Beach was, come on, man. We got around, There was multiple years I didn't even use my real name talking to multiple females. Like my whole crew, we had alternate names that we called each other. We got so comfortable.
These niggas had code names.
What'd you say? Truth teller. At a certain point, y'all develop a telepathy, a team telepathy.
We started. Listen, we would refer to each other as our code names when ain't nobody was there. It's just that was the name. We used it so much. It's crazy.
I'm gonna say again though, none of this leads to women being hoes because they have to make a decision first. And see, this is the type of stuff that women will say, well, y'all was doing this and y'all was doing that. I ain't never slept with no woman who didn't want to get slept with. Now that's just the reality of it. Okay. So women have to choose to be hoes. I think their mamas encourage them to be hoes. A lot of their aunties probably encouraging them to be hoes. Because they do be having these things where aunties be over there, the nieces be there, and they be talking to each other. So they encourage them to do a lot of hoe stuff at the end of the day. A lot of hoe stuff. Matter of fact, I really believe there's times in my life where I wouldn't have got none if it wasn't for their mamas or their aunties or whatever the case is. Yeah, I mean, how many times have I picked up somebody and their mama wanted them out the house? And it just turned into me getting some. That was an assist at the end of the day. I didn't recognize it at that particular point. But why am I coming over here? Yeah, my mama want me to just be out for a little while. She said don't come back till around 8 o'clock. So now some chick calling me to come pick her up. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That's encouraging wholeness at the end of the day. Because what's a young black man gonna do? You throwing it all in his lap like that, he gonna put something in something at some point. That's all I'm saying. He gonna put something in something at some point if that's what you're doing. Now, I'm going to say
that 5 times fast.
That'd be probably a little difficult, but yeah, at some point.
Put something in something at some point.
Yeah. Now, shout out to Landon. He say, I'm a good guy because I always kept it 100 and 10 toes down. Definitely with this generation of renegades, scallywags. And y'all, I am not trying to brag like I'm saying I'm better than anybody else for telling, hoes the truth. I was told as a young man, they hoes, they pretty much all doing it. You might as well tell them the truth. So it was kind of in a little bit of a rebellious thing, I guess.
I respect your way of doing things. Obviously, whatever you do. I didn't. Not only did I not care, but I enjoyed doing it. At a certain point, I started out being the quote nice guy or trying to be a nice guy, and got messed over a few times. Kind of starting out in college, and I said, "Well, okay. I mean, if we're gonna do it this way, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it to the max." This is the game. I'm playing the game to win now. That was my approach going forward.
It's basically their fault.
But I yeah. I mean, that was part of it. That was in large part. Yeah, in large part, that's what it was about. It was their fault. You released the Kraken.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it, but they showed me that I had to do it this way to get the results.
Mhm.
Like she said, who just gonna walk in the room and say, "What you want me to do? Come on now, what did you want me to do?"
I
You
gotta
did
get
catch
my
that
results
double
like
entendre
everybody
too,
else.
by the way. Poke her, poker.
But you know what though? I do think the fact that they like liars actually kind of goes along with the fact that a lot of them are just they just choose to be hoes in the first place because they could like the truth, but they choose not to like the truth. My thing is, what kind of person are you when you like to be lied to? And we can't pretend that women don't like to be lied to. It's very obvious in today's time that women like to be lied to. You know.
You know, one of the things when I think about women, I think about a song that came out in the '80s. It was a very silly song,
I'm gonna
but
say it
it
for
really aptly described female. Uh, no, it's a girl song. I can't say no girl song, especially
Rumble.
not this particular girl song. Uh, girls just want to have fun. Everything that women
I
do
remember that.
is about them having fun. Everything that women do is about having fun. The drama is about fun. The sex is about fun. The cheating is about fun. The lying is about fun. It's all entertainment. It's all fun. The sneaking around, fucking this other girl, your best friend's husband. That shit's all fun to them. A man will do some stuff and do some dastardly stuff, and maybe it's because of some sort of inclination or some desperation. But a lot of the most skeeviest shit women do is out of boredom and desire to have fun. And so I don't and part of the problem with being too decent of a man with women is it's not as fun to them. You're not as fun to them.
No.
That's
Yep.
just that's just the
Here,
way they work.
here go the terms that they like to use. They'll say boring. You're not exciting.
Hmm.
I need a I need a
Hmm.
change. I
Hmm.
basically it's outright them lying, right?
I gotta find
Whatever,
myself.
gotta find myself, right?
Hmm.
Or they like to I like a little mystery about them, all that kind of stuff. Because
Hmm. Hmm.
most of the things that they say make a man attracted to them are not the things or the characteristics that a successful man would do, right?
The singer Ari Lennox, right, admitted to everything that I just said. You all
Oh
have
yeah,
seen
I
her
saw it.
videos recently, right? Yeah. I mean,
She
she
just
admitted to
sad
all of
now.
that.
She
Yeah.
just sad now.
It was
She
good guys,
she old hoe.
but they were boring to me. I like the bad boys, and she even said a lot of the bad boys weren't even cute. She said it wasn't even just that they were just like good looking or charismatic, but they were fun because they were giving her ass hell.
Yeah. They like spontaneity now. When you dealing with a
That's
guy
the
Yeah.
that's
word,
going
Roger.
through it,
Yeah, that's the
yeah.
word.
When you dealing
Spontaneity.
with a guy that's going through it, you get
Look,
spontaneity
uh,
now.
when you never know whether or not he might slap you upside the head, that can be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And
dodging it.
then that's the thing, though. See, that uncertainty to them is exciting. Uncertainty to a
Hmm.
successful
Yeah.
man is problematic. So they don't even
The
conflict, which means their
uncertainty to a
base code,
successful man is prison
yeah,
time potentially.
pretty much. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. Yeah, it's true.
That's accurate.
But see, but what happens is what we don't recognize is it's their default programming. That's who they are naturally.
Oh
The only
man,
Hmm.
re- the only reason why they even look like better people is because men exist.
yeah. Well, I mean, men be lying
Hmm.
to themselves sometime, and unfortunately, we lie too much about them. But I'm gonna say, shout out to Joel's. He said, painting the walls behind the bleachers, and that's part of the fun. When you think about it, if a girl is painting the walls behind the bleachers, that's fun. What can we get away with especially what can we get away in public without people peeping what we doing? That's all fun. Okay, it's all fun. And I'm gonna turn it over to okay, that's you coming back. Well, then I'm gonna turn it over to Jado, because he ain't got a statement in. Y'all know how Jado get at. He come when he want to. Yeah, hold on one second. Wait a minute now. What man? There we go. Here goes Jado, y'all. You know, punking me, talking about I'm gonna come when I want. Ain't nothing you gonna do about it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, bro. Can I be
What's
heard?
up, Jado?
Yeah, at least you,
What up? No,
at least
I
you
ain't got
know.
nothing. I ain't got nothing constructive to add, man. Nothing but foolishness. So no, I'm here for the round table, bro. Whenever y'all get to it, bro.
You here for the fuckery. You here for pure fuckery.
I ain't got nothing constructive to add, bro.
Well, it's probably gonna get real deconstructive in a minute. That's for sure, y'all. Cause y'all, boy, we gonna let some of y'all behind the curtain sometime, y'all. We thinking about letting y'all behind the curtain sometime. So we might do a couple round tables and you know, if you feel like being a member at the Roger Report Live, we might make a few round tables and let y'all hear some of this stuff that be going on. Cause it be getting crazy back there sometimes. It be getting crazy. Okay. And today might be one of those days with what we talking about right now, real talk, because when it come down to it, my bad. He said I'm skipping over his super chat. I'm skipping over super chats. Okay. Oh, okay. My bad, brother. My bad. He said Bruce Owen Wayne. Shout out to you, my brother. He said my favorite one. It ain't even like that, baby. Yeah, when a woman's trying to convince you of some stuff, you definitely gonna hear that. You definitely gonna hear that. You know what I really like? Oh, I don't really do this. I like that one. I don't really do this. And why do I don't really do this? Because when a woman say I don't really do this, you know you about to have a good time. That's all.
I got one. I got one for y'all at Bible study, boy. Woo, I heard all of that. I heard all of that.
And I'm also say shout out to Joe's one more. Oh no, I got that one in. Okay, cool. Y'all, well, you know what? This is what we gonna do. It is a Friday. All right. I got a couple folks coming up for the round table right now. Now, technically, we had about 13 more minutes to go because it ain't hit 3 hours. But the round table won't start. So I'm going to let them have it because it's Friday, y'all. And it be that way sometimes. So I'm going to say, shout out to Sarah B. Shout out to Sarah B. Always glad to see you, sister. Always glad to see you. Our sister from the other mister, as they say. We about to start the round table early and really start talking about, we're really going to have some discussions, okay? So, y'all, it's been a great week. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if you're new. We do this Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Chicago time, not your time. But, y'all, what I am saying to men, the point of this show for the men, start encouraging virginity where you can. And we as men, let's seriously consider not cracking open no new virgins unless we're married to them. Real talk. Because the women ain't going to get right. We just going to have to force them to be right. You know, because they do need us to have the sex. So, you know, we can force them to be right because they ain't going to get right. It's just that simple at the end of the day. So y'all have a good rest of y'all weekend. Appreciate you big time. Thanks for all the love this week on the Super Chat and Cash App side. I'll see y'all next time around. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. Matter of fact, y'all, Sunday, 6 o'clock, we're going to be going over Cross, okay? The great Amazon series Cross, the second season that came out. We'll be going over that Sunday at 6 o'clock if you want to join us for that. All the movies that I put in for review, y'all, that would be the potential movies to win Best Picture next year. So if y'all want Roger to see a particular movie so it'll have a chance to win, y'all just got to let me know. Okay, y'all got to let me know. That's for people that be on the panel. That's for y'all in the audience. If y'all want me to see something so it'll have a chance at winning, y'all got to let me know what it is, and I will make a good effort to see whatever it is that y'all suggest that I see. Okay, while seeing some of the stuff I want to see. All right, but y'all let me know. Okay, and we soon we're gonna make a decision about the actual Best Picture between Sinners and Weapons. Okay, I'm just trying to let everybody get a chance to see the one they didn't see, and we'll tell y'all what the decision is on that one later on. Okay, but join us for Sunday to see Cross, y'all.
Check your super chats. Bruce on Wayne said you missed his super chat.
No, I got that one. I did that one already. I did that. But let me check the cash out. I'm gonna check the cash out real quick, just see if it's something that came in late that didn't show. Do that real fast. Hey. Shout out to my main man who talking about super chats. But I did just check the Cash App and it did pop in. Shout out to the Great Black Reset, y'all. He done dropped that $100. That $100 on that. Yeah, man. Hey, man. I love this brother, man. He done dropped that $100 on me, y'all. He done dropped 100. All right. I sure appreciate that, my brother. I sure appreciate that. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to all the people who love me enough to give a little something on the program, y'all. I try to give y'all the best conversations. I try to give y'all the best content out there. I do actually make sure I'm better than other people. Cause y'all, my audience was being y'all deserve better than what you gonna get listening to somebody else's stuff. I ain't telling you not to listen to nobody. I'm just saying I'm gonna make sure you get better stuff over here. So if you appreciate that, make sure you are subscribed. If you've been subscribed for a while, make sure you still subscribe. And I will see y'all next time around. Long live the Habitual Line Steppers. I'm Roger. I'm Bright. And I'm out.